Good morning, Tempo Freaks and Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and it's Tuesday. And the Tempo are playing the Washington Mystics today for the third time this season. They've lost both times they played them, not by a lot. The margin of victory for the Mystics over the Tempo in 2 games has been only 4 points. One game the last time was by 1 point at the buzzer. They just barely beat us. And then they beat us in our first ever game at Coca-Cola Coliseum, the first game of the season. So we owe the Mystics some stuff. Yeah, we owe them some stuff. So I've got the preview for that game. And also, I'll be reacting to the Raptors' victory over the Indiana Pacers at Las Vegas Summer League last night. That game was fun. That game was fun. That actually was in the afternoon, yesterday afternoon. So let me get right into the preview for the Tempo game with the Mystics, and then we'll go into the reaction for the Raptors game yesterday. All right, first of all, let's go check the latest lineup news right now. There is a bit of changes with the Tempo's injury report. Brittany is out. Next time she could be possibly playing is the Las Vegas Aces game next Monday. The 20th is this target time for her to possibly come back. So we'll see if Brittany's back for the last game before the WNBA All-Star break against the Las Vegas Aces. It's our first time playing them. That'll be a big deal. Kiki is also slated possibly to return for that game, but don't take my word for it. It's just the estimated return date on her fantasy profile. Rice remains sidelined by a grade 3 left ankle sprain, according to WNBA reporter Kareem Copeland. So, yeah, hopefully the two of them can come back sooner than later. We need them back as soon as possible. After the big win over the Liberty on Sunday, we want to gain more momentum. And this is tonight is probably the easiest game for the rest of the month because we've got 2 games against the Lynx at the end of the month after All-Star break, and we're playing the Dream on Friday and the Aces on Monday. So these are top teams we got to play otherwise. So we need to win this one tonight. We need to take the wins where we can get them. Temi has been updated, guys. She is questionable for today. She's not out for sure. They're hoping that she'll get past the league concussion protocol for today and finally come back after 4 games out. So there could be that Fagbenle is available for the team against Austin and the Mystics because she clears concussion protocols. Yeah, because she's been under concussion protocol. That's why she's been out. She got hit in the face in practice pretty hard by a basketball. So, yeah, that's it. Nobody else is on the list. No Niara sitting on the list right now. So, everybody else should be available. So, yeah, that's the injury list for the Tempo. On the other side of things, looking at the Mystics, it looks like they got a clean bill of health. We'll just go over their lineup real quick. Sonia Citron, the all-star. Kiki Irfin, also an all-star. Shakira Austin. Michaela Onyenware. Coty McMahon, Alicia Flores, Lauren Betts, Georgia Amore, Angela Dugalich, Lucy Olson, Cassandra Prosper, and Rory Harmon. Basically is the lineup for the Mystics this year. The ESPN matchup predictor is predicting that the Tempo have a 59% chance to win today. So that's pretty good. That's almost 60% chance Tempo to win, according to ESPN. That is pretty good. That's pretty good. So we got, we got to win this one. I'm telling you right now. I don't no ifs, ands, or buts. We can beat the Liberty on Sunday in Montreal. We can beat the Mystics in Coca-Cola Coliseum on Tuesday because we need this win. Honestly, we want to get closer to 500 and closer to the last playoff spot. And the Mystics are a team that we can beat, and we owe them. Let's just put it that way. They just narrowly beat us twice. And this is only 2 more games against them for the season. We'd like to even the series by getting both of the last 2. So, yeah, let's beat them tonight. 7 p.m. is the tip-off at Coca-Cola Coliseum. So be ready. The referees for the match tonight in Toronto against the Mystics. Isaac Barnett is the crew chief, number 16. Our record with him so far this season is 1-1. The referee will be Catherine Chang, number 35. We are 1-0 with Catherine Chang this season so far. And the umpire will be number 37, Teresa Stuck. Teresa Stuck, we are 1-2 with this season. So overall record with the three refs, 3-3, even, right down the middle. 3 wins, 3 losses. Yeah, Isaac Barnett, Catherine Chang, Teresa Stuck, the ref crew for tonight in Coca-Cola. Yeah, so there's your preview on what's going on there. Good morning, Mr. Greg. Good morning. I will return. I will return. Good to see you, Mr. Greg. Hope you're having a fantastic morning. What a fun summer league game with the Raptors and the Pacers yesterday. What a fun game. It was very close, very back and forth, high drama, lots of good defense, some really fun plays in the game. Really impressed with our rookie, Alan Graves. He is fantastic. Yeah, so maybe I'll go ahead and start going over that game real quick right now. My reaction to the Raptors 1-point win over Indiana Pacers, and they won in one of those ways that you don't see very often on a block shot. Yeah, Seth Lundy. Wow. I said last game, if Seth can string together a few games in Summer League really high level, he should get a training camp invite. Yeah, it's each step, you know. You play really good one game, play really good in the second game, play really good in the third game. Then boom, all of a sudden, hey, we'd like to put you on Exhibit 10 and send you to our training camp in the fall. And you know what? You're going to be in preseason, and you can play some more games then and see if you can continue to keep having a job with the Raptors. You know, I still think that Seth Lundy is a streak shooter and that he's just on a good streak right now. But man, has he been money from hitting shots right now? And has he, he was huge, hitting a huge three and then blocking the big shot. And the whole game, the Dutch player, Mast, was just operating for the Pacers in ways where he could just do whatever he wanted. But right at the very end, Seth Lundy blocked him on the most important shot right at the end of the game. And it was huge. I mean, the shot goes in. We're only winning by 1. They win by 1, and the buzzer goes off. But instead, Lundy gets a big block and saves the day and wins the game. Very dramatic fashion. Really, really cool stuff. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, Seth Lundy is my number 1 star of the game. He was the leading scorer and the big shot blocker at the end. 26 minutes for Seth and got 22 points on 8 of 13 shooting. He continued his hot streak from behind the arc with 4 of 7 shooting for 3. He made 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 2 steals, and 1 block, a +10. Definitely the most important player in the game yesterday for the Raptors in the victory over the Pacers Summer League team. Yeah. Yeah, he's impressive. I like how, overall with the Raptors in this Summer League game yesterday, if people were getting the ball kicked out to them for open threes, they were hitting them. And Lundy was one of them. Graves was one of them. Tyreek Key was one of them. They were, when they got those open threes, they nailed them. And, there were a bunch of plays where there was driving to the lane and kickouts to threes, and the threes were wide open. And, forgive me, after a couple years of bad shooting by the Raptors outside, I love seeing people making the open kickout threes so money. And that was really what this game was all about in some ways, making those big time threes on the kickout. My second star of the game for the Raptors yesterday is going to be Tyreek Key. Tyreek Key, I'm so proud of because he's he's getting a chance here with the big club again. He's played 2 years of 905. He's been one of the main leaders. He's been steady offensive carrying. People come and go on 905, and Tyreek Key is steady. At the end of the season, he got that 10-day contract, and he got extra money but he never did get on the court in the NBA and play for the Raptors there, which is too bad. because man, I'll tell you what, he's such a steady scorer. He's such a professional. He's such a good leader. And then you also see him taking his lumps. Like in the first game, not the first game, but on the Saturday game against the Rockets, he was getting hit and pushed around. Same thing actually in the Boston game, too. This whole summer league, Tyreek is not taking it easy. He's getting after it and he's taking abuse. There was a crazy play where one of the Pacers like did a butt skid over his head yesterday, trying to get for a ball, and the dude literally skipped his butt over his shoulders onto his head, bamming him into the floor face first, and then landed. Yeah, it was awful. It looked really bad, and it looked like Tyreek was very hurt. But man, this dude is tough. He got up, sunk the free throw, professional, little beat in the face, but he did it. And he kept playing. They didn't even take him out of the game because it looked like a bad play. It looked like he could have gotten a concussion because it hit him. They hit him in the back of the head first, and then the force of it riding over him pushed his face in the floor too. So he got double knocked around, and that's jarring stuff to your neck. So I was so happy to see he was okay, and he continued to play throughout the game. He has been taking abuse. He's been getting hit. He's been getting grabbed. He's falling to the ground crazy. Yeah, I felt bad for Tyreek Key, but not the point where, wow, he's still a badass and he's playing at a high level. 20 minutes for Tyreek off the bench, 16 points on 4 of 8 shooting. He did miss all 3 of his threes yesterday. 4 free throws, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, up -2. He's always been just a solid scorer for Raptors 905. When we need baskets, he goes and gets them. And he had a really nice backdoor cut dunk from Biddle that was so nice. Like he got up there and jammed it. I've often made the player comparison for Tyreek Key to Anthony Parker, who used to play for the Raptors back in the day with Jose Calderon and Andrea Bargnani. He's got a lot of the same skills as Anthony Parker as far as his three-point shooting, his transition, his steals, and also some surprising hops near the basket where he can get up there and throw it down. So, yeah, Tyreek, man, I appreciate what you're doing for the Raptors. And this whole 905 contingency that Evo has had at Summer League has really paid off. The connections and the familiarity between Key and Hogard, that it really has been helpful in this league, this summer league. Same with Chucky and Tyson Degenhart. It's too bad Elijah's still not playing because, man, he needs to be out there. I'm telling you right now. My third star of the game for yesterday is Alan Graves. Alan, man, he is so good. Like, you really see the intelligence of how he plays in these summer league games. He's such a telegrapher. He's such a few steps ahead of the game kind of guy. And right from the start, we saw after the Raptors scored their first basket, Alan Graves was an opportunist, and he hawked the inbounds ball and stole it and put another 2 points on to put us up 4-2 right at the bat. And that keyed a crazy run at the beginning of the game where the Raptors went off on the Pacers and were up by like 16-2 or something, 16-4. They were mopping the floor with them in the first quarter, just rocking them. Perfect defense and crazy good offensive execution. Yeah, that defense in the first quarter was nuts, how the Raptors were playing. And Alan Graves is the ringleader. He's the guy who sets the tone by getting that steal right off the bat from the start. We saw other stuff from Allen that was very interesting in this game. Of course, the open threes that I talked about earlier, they leave him open. He gets an open look. He's money with the three-point shot. In fact, I have a lot of confidence in Alan Graves' 3 already, way more than I had on Grady Dix last year. And the other thing I saw Allen doing was he was doing some post-ups. They weren't totally successful because he was literally trying to post up bigger defenders. And he was not afraid to try and shoot over them. It was crazy. He had like a mast on him, and he would go at him and just try and go up over him. And the guy's got inches on him, taller than him. And that's crazy. But he didn't make those shots, but they were close. And I can see where he will have some sort of post ability to kind of do some post moves. But yeah, he was awesome. And like I said, the guy's just telegraphing things. He's such a smart player. He really is watching everything, and he's a couple steps ahead. So yeah, Allen Graves, 26 minutes, 13 points on 5 of 12 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 4 steals, and a plus 15. Yeah, he was the best plus minus on the team yesterday. And the steals are awesome. They were very opportune times, and just being aware and aggressive and going to get it. I like how this guy, like Danny Green, was calling the game yesterday with George Sedano. George Sedano, you're a fool, by the way. Horrible announcer. But Danny Green, amazing, talking about how Allen Graves just doesn't get tired, and he's all over the place, and he's constantly moving and running, and his engine is crazy. Always all over the place, just everywhere, and making very smart moves. None of it is like wasted. He's really going and doing things and going to do the next thing that is the right thing in the right place, because he's got it like that. And I love that. I love that so much. Allen, man, 3 great games so far. The second game was a little bit lower, but this one was good, like the first one. My 4th star of the game is Nate Biddle. Nate Biddle started at center, and he's just such an interesting player. Like, really interesting player. He gets up and down the court. I like that. He gets after it. You know, in some ways, he's following the lead of Graves as far as getting after it. And, Biddle had a couple of different really interesting plays in this game. 19 minutes for Biddle, 9 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, and even on the plus minus. Yeah, as Evo said after the game, we've got 2 centers I really like in Biddle and Sharp. And I think that, if the Raptors can hold on to both of them and have them both come into training camp, I mean, if both of them ended up on our team, that would definitely give us center depth. And they'd be very different kinds of centers to back up Yaka. So I'm not against it. Both of them have played very well in this summer league. Sharp has been, really good game in the second game, but kind of in the other 2 games. But Biddle has been consistently very good. And he's definitely coming to training camp. He's on the Exhibit 10. So we'll have to see what he does in the fall as far as showing himself to be valuable to the Raptors to keep for the regular season. If at anything, at the least, him and Sharp could possibly be on 905 for sure. Yeah, but Biddle's awesome. And there's a chemistry out there with him with some of these Raptors in summer league, like Graves. There's a chemistry. And he had chemistry with Key also. So it's very good. All right, and I'll give the 5th star to the second round pick at 50, Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley finally woke up. He got to start because Chucky is done for the summer league. He's not hurt. Don't worry about Hepburn. He's not hurt. It's just at a certain point they wrap up guys after they've seen enough. And Chucky got to play in the first 2 games, and he was fantastic. Even though he didn't shoot very well, he played very high level. And they're like, yeah, we don't need you to play anymore, Chucky. You're done for summer league. So Jaden Bradley got the start. And honestly, he was still to me. He did have a good game compared to the other 2, but I'm still not that impressed with him. Like, there's nothing extraordinary about him. In some ways, he got a lot of his points yesterday and what he was doing just in easy, normal basketball ways. And I'm not seeing him like distinguish himself. That's what I'm saying. He did have a play where he made a shot when he got fouled and got an and 1. But really, none of this is that interesting or exciting or very different, or I'm just like, okay, why still? But Jaden Bradley, 26 minutes, 15 points on 5 of 11 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, 5 of 7 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnovers, a plus 14. A solid game nonetheless, and one of the double-digit scores for the Raptors in the afternoon game yesterday. I'm trying to see the things about him to like, but it's hard for me. And there, I mean, he played solid. He was fine. Without his contributions, they don't win by one. But it's so boring in some ways. And it's like I'm like, what is this guy? What is his deal? Like he's not like a supreme defender. Like I'm not seeing this defensive side to him that fits in with the Raptors' really good defensive players. And his offense is nothing special either. I mean, he has not hit a three yet, I don't think, in summer league in 3 games. So I gave him a star because he did get double digits. And does it take you have to start to play well, Jaden Bradley? That's the question I'm asking. You can't play well off the bench? Well, you're fucked. You won't make the NBA. You better be able to do stuff quick in a short amount of minutes because that's all you're going to get in the beginning. Because if you have to have starters minutes and starter shots to be effective, you're fucked. You're not gonna make this league. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, Namari Burnett. We'll go over the rest of the guys after the 5 stars. Namari Burnett started again. 24 minutes for him. 4 points on 1 of 4 shooting. 1 of 2 at the free throw line. 6 rebounds. 2 assists. 0 turnovers. A +6. Namari looks more so like a young Norman Powell. He's just got to put some more muscle on. He's going to be in training camp. He's already got the Exhibit 10, and he will be there as one of the training camp roster spots. In fact, our training camp roster is kind of more full up than our regular roster is. Our regular roster has 3 spots open, and it's looking like our training camp roster has probably only got like 1 or 2 spots left. So we'll just have to see the battle at preseason and the training camp and see who gets cut before the season starts. And well, Biddle, I'd like to see you make the cut. I'd like to see you make a cut. Jamarian Sharp off the bench yesterday, 16 minutes, 4 points on 2 of 4 shooting. He's my honorable mention, honestly, because even though he only got 4 points, he had 9 rebounds and 3 blocks, and he was a force. He definitely helped us at times in this game as far as being a defensive presence and stopping the other team from scoring. But in a very weird decision, Coach Evo decided to not play a center for the last couple minutes of the game. And I didn't totally agree with that. I mean, it worked out with Lundy making the block shot, but I didn't agree with this. I mean, why wouldn't you put Sharp in there at the end of the game to try and stop them inside? That's a much more safer pick, Coach Evo, than leaving both the centers out because you were running a centerless team for the last couple minutes of the game yesterday. And I was like, why is there not a center in there? Because we got 2 good shot blocking centers. And Jamarian Sharp is a closer. He's somebody you want to be out there like Wemby to really stop people from wanting to come near there and make it harder for them to get shots. So we saw some of the weaknesses of Sharp in this game. There was a couple times where they kicked the ball around the horn and he was on the outside and he was wide open, but he can't make the shot. So they have to push it to the next guy immediately. But at least he knows the protocols of what to do in those situations. Sharp was aggressive on the boards and he had an offensive putback for one of his baskets. So, he's got a lot of solid skills, but man, does he have some glaring weaknesses too. 2 for 4 from the field, missed his only free throw, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and 3 blocks, a +1 for the 7'5" Sharp. We saw the third center get in for a little while, and honestly, I wasn't that impressed. He seemed a little bit of a mess. Aziz Bandayago. Yeah, a little bit of a mess. He ran the floor okay, but he didn't grab a single rebound in three minutes. He took 1 shot and missed it. He had a really good alley-oop chance. They threw it to him real nice, but he couldn't handle it and put it down. So, man, he's totally a project. I can tell that guy is not anywhere near the Raptors. Hopefully, he can play on 905 and be a solid center for that team, maybe the backup center this year. And maybe his skills can develop more out there with Coach Noah and in our program. but he is in the Raptors 905 program because we drafted him. We have the rights to him in G League. So Aziz Bandiago will be on 905 this year because we have his rights. And he's a big true center. So, bring him in. But man, this is his first appearance in summer league. He looked clumsy. He looked like horrible timing and just really awkward. Really, really awkward when he's out there. Another guy who was totally awkward and weird on the court was Malik Thomas. Malik Thomas was going so fast to try and do everything that he was screwing up. We had a bunch of out of bounds calls yesterday, including Alan Graves, who stepped out twice and caused turnovers by stepping out, which was really dumb. 2 of his 3 turnovers were just stepping out. Yeah, Malik Thomas stepped out at a certain point too. He had a couple of egregious kind of rookie mistakes that are stupid and just show that, like, man, you got to clean up your act because he wasn't that good. Malik Thomas, 10 minutes, 0 points, 0-2 from the field, 0-1 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, a -6. Yeah, he was not good. He was not good, and he was really angry with the refs at one point too. He didn't agree with one of their calls. Man, you're nobody. You may have been somebody in college, but you're nobody now, Malik Thomas. So get over yourself. Brandon Angel was more solid in some ways, coming in and getting more minutes in this game. 12 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 4 shooting. He made both his threes, which was really nice. 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, a -12. Yeah, Angel was solid and strong looking. He's in there mixing it up, and I love that he hit his open threes. So yeah, I would like to see more of him in the Miami Heat game in a couple days and see if there's more promise to him possibly. AJ Hogarth was a real catalyst in the first quarter. He really keyed off the huge lead we took in the first quarter. They took Bradley out and they put Hogarth in, and he just started kicking some ass, hitting a 3, getting a steal, getting passes to the right people. Hogarth, 17 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 turnovers, though, 1 steal, a -17. Yeah, he had the worst plus minus, but in his first stint on the court, holy crap, he was playing so good. And he really helped the Raptors get out to a huge lead in the first quarter. Yeah, the first quarter, it was 26-16 at the end of the first quarter, 10-point lead for them. But then the Pacers came back and evened up the score by halftime by outscoring us 10 in the second. Then it was 25-24 in the third, and then a tied fourth quarter, both teams with 24 points, and it's a 1-point victory. So, man, it was a very close game in the second half. The first quarter, it was not. The Raptors absolutely blew them out. Absolutely. So, yeah, no Tyson Degenhart in this game, possibly because he hit the ground hard in the last game. And then also Canadian Jalen Celestine has not made an appearance yet for the Raptors in Summer League yet. So he'll probably get to play against the Heat on Thursday. Yeah, that'll be we have one more game after that to be announced, and it'll be happening over the weekend on Saturday or Sunday, most likely Saturday, because we're not probably going to be playing for the championship. But yeah, we will see the Raptors play one more Summer League game beyond the one that's announced for Thursday. There will be a fifth game. It's just we'll have to see how they seed us and who we get. On the other side of things, let's give some credit to the other side. It really was a two-man show. That guy, Rink Mast, was so interesting. He's Dutch, right? He's 6'10", and he was really money. Like he was shooting over Sharp and with no fear over the 7'5" guy. He was hitting threes. He was rebounding like crazy. He had a double-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds, and he even had a block. The kid's interesting. He played a game called korfball. Korfball is a Dutch ball game with a soccer ball and a net, and it's similar to basketball, except there's no backboard, and it's really strange. Like it's a really big game over in Holland. They play it there. So he started out as a korfball player with korfball, but he transitioned to basketball. So yeah, I guess he was too tall for korfball, and they're like, you should play basketball instead because he's 6'10". But yeah, that kid is fun. Like he's the kind of guy I wouldn't mind having around the Raptors. Mast, yeah, he was really impressive yesterday. He really made a good look for himself around the league. If he doesn't have a spot with the Pacers, he should find one somewhere. We also saw NBA veteran Jalen Slauson with some very powerful dunks, playing very aggressively, but also playing kind of knuckleheaded. That's part of the reason why he hasn't totally made it in the NBA is because he's very athletic and very competitive, but he's not cleaned up totally fundamentally. There were some really goofy mistakes he was making, like, and then he did brick a dunk where he threw it down and it came right out. But yeah, Slauson, a big game for him. 28 minutes, 21 points on 6 of 13, 8 rebounds, but 4 turnovers and 2 blocks. Yeah, Yuki was fun too. We saw Yuki Kawamura out there playing, and he's such a fun player to watch, just from how speedy he is and him trying to be sneaky and trying how to score and stuff like that. But yeah, good win over the Pacers, who were really a two-man show with Slauson and Mast. Mast was really good. Like he was he was unstoppable right up until the end, and then he was stoppable by Seth Lundy with the block shot. Yeah, let's go over the team stats real quick. The Raptors shot 46%, and they got 6 more shots on goal than the Pacers, and they even made 7 field goals more than them. But it was that close. Part of it was because of the free throws. Once again, the refs are just not nice to Tempo and Raptors. They give so many more free throws to the other team to try and help the other team. So we have to be that much better. We have to kick much more ass and play better fundamentally in certain ways because there is hand holding going on. 23 free throw attempts for the Pacers and only 15 for us. So that's 8 more chances at extra points. Actually, it's more because it's the G League rules. And some of those free throws are worth 2 points, but we beat them by 1 by the end. And it's really the shooting better than them and manufacturing more field goal attempts by hustling and stealing the ball, offensive rebounds, things like that. Yeah, 3-pointers, 11 for the Raptors, only 9 for the Pacers. That helped. Rebounds, 40-34 for Toronto. Assists to turnover ratio, really ugly. Once again, it's summer league. These guys are stepping out of bounds and causing really dumb unforced turnovers. 24 assists to 21 turnovers for the Raptors. And the other side had 16 assists to 17 turnovers. So they had more turnovers than assists, the Pacers. Yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly. I want the Tempo and the Raptors in summer league to clean up their turnovers, but in summer league it ain't going to happen. At least the regular Raptors that play in the NBA in the regular season are very good at not turning the ball over. That is a very good strength about our team, honestly. Yeah, fouls were really not fair. 9 more fouls for the Raptors than the Pacers by the refs. Yeah, it was Julian Scott was the main ref. G League ref Julian Scott was kind of in charge there, but also with Simone Jelks and Rio Hasabi were the refs. Yeah, the fast break, they don't have that here. But yeah, good game. They led for 73% of the game and kind of had the lead. We had an 18-point lead at one point early in the game, but they ate it up, and then it was even for most of the game after that. But yeah, big time clutch block and win for the game. And yeah, Seth Lundy, you're continuing to get in the good favor of the Raptors. At courtside, we saw Larry and Judy Tannenbaum sitting next to Bobby Webster and Alex McKechnie at times during the game. And there was somebody sitting in the corner also. That's right. Kawhi Leonard was in attendance for the Raptors Summer League game against the Pacers last night, sitting in the corner with a San Diego Padres hat on. And, he was one of the 2 Raptors had not shown up at Summer League yet. And, well, Kawhi showed up, and he went to Raptors Summer League game. I mean, hey, today's the day of the board and governors meeting. Hopefully they can get the aspiration scandal figured out with a punishment and get this all behind it and ratify and make the deal official that Kawhi Leonard is returned to Toronto as a Raptor. But yeah, that's a good sign. The man showed up like that. Why do you think he's doing this? Why you guys think he's coming to Kyle Lowry's retirement? and then come into a Raptors Summer League game, not a Clippers Summer League game, not any other team Summer League game. Yeah, a Raptors Summer League game. Telling you, they got to figure this out today and get this over and done with. There's too many people chiming in on this situation and filling in the blanks with all kinds of misinformation. So figure this out today, Board of Governors. And seeing Larry Tenenbaum at courtside for the game last night means he's in Vegas, and I'm sure he's at that meeting today. I'm sure that he's at that meeting today. Yeah, the announcer, George Sedano. What is your problem, bro? Like, he's obviously got a bias towards Canada and the Raptors, like a lot of the ESPN heads do. Thank God for Danny Green calling the game. Really refreshing and awesome to hear him. He's going to give us a fair shake and talk from his experience. But I would say this to George Sedano. First of all, that guy, Alex Reese, that was on the Indiana Pacers Summer League team yesterday, he's not the brother of Angel Reese. You're an idiot. You said at the beginning of the game that Alex Reese was the brother of Angel Reese. You're getting him confused with Julian Reese. Julian Reese is the brother of Angel Reese, and Alex Reese is not related to Julian and Angel. So you're an idiot. And the other thing that I don't appreciate about you, bro, you're an announcer. You get two teams that you got to announce before the game. You get a media guide, right? George Sedano, you get a media guide, right? You should learn all the players' names, because at the point when Tyreek Key got knocked out and was laying on the floor, he's like, my unidentified player, I don't know who he is. Well, your fucking job is to know who the players on the court are. And half the game, the Raptors players would do stuff and you wouldn't make the call on them because you didn't know their names. Listen, bro, if you're a real professional, you look at the lineups before the game, do your homework, and you know the numbers and the names of the players that you're calling the game for. And you don't act like like we could get anybody to come fucking call the game if they're going to be people that don't know the names and can't call them. That's your job, man. Do your fucking job, George Sedano. Seriously, do your fucking job. And then the other thing I'd say is you brought up Tyler Hansbrough, because Tyler Hansbrough played with Danny Green at UNC, and they had like the most games ever played in a Tar Heel jersey. You talked all about Tyler Hansbrough and his history with the Pacers, but did you realize that Tyler Hansbrough played for both the teams you were calling yesterday? And you could have made that note in the middle of the broadcast, but no, you're so fucking biased and you have such a blind spot. You wouldn't even mention that Psycho T actually had his best years in the NBA in a Raptors jersey. So yeah, you go ahead and sleep on doing your job, George Sedano, Jorge Sedano, or who the fuck you are, you sorry ass piece of shit ESPN NBA announcer, showing a bias towards the Raptors, rooting for the Pacers on the download during the game. This is all business as usual for what I expect from ESPN American announcers. And then not doing your damn homework and calling Alex Reese the brother of Angel Reese, you dumbass. He is not related to Angel. And then, you don't even know the names of the players that are on the court. So you're trying to call the game and you're like, Raptors player does this. Yeah, fucking learn their names, bro. You got one job. You're an announcer. You announce the names when they score. And if you didn't do your homework before the game and you can't announce their names, well, you're horrible at your job. That's what I got to say to that. Yeah, Danny Green, fantastic job. It's interesting how so many former Raptors go into broadcasting. Have you noticed that? Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Danny Green, Kyle Lowry. Why is that? Because guys that come to our team are very verbose and very intelligent and very good at talking and explaining the game. We just have that quality. I like this because this effect means we got more people that will respect the Raptors that are going to be on TV in the States. And in some ways, they will, because they have history with us. I think that Vince respects us a little bit more after we retired his jersey. Danny Green's going to give us the proper respect. And he's not going to just blatantly diss us because he's a champion with us. And he spent a year here and he can understand the city, the culture, and how we are up here. Now, he has blind spots and he sometimes does say dumb shit. But for the most part, Danny Green's going to hold respect for us as he goes forward in his media career if he's going to be calling games and doing stuff like he did yesterday. And I appreciate that. The thing about Lowry, Lowry's going to be on Peacock. He's going to be on, Amazon or whatever he's going to be on. How's he going to treat the Raptors when he has to deal with us in broadcasting? It's a great thing. It's a great thing. And I think that McGrady and Carter could do a little better, but they do all right. Del Curry's calling games for Charlotte. In some ways he's going to be a little bit dissing us, but also at the same time having some respect because he has a chapter of his life here too. So yeah, fun game yesterday. Really big ending. Really big block at the ending too. Lots of fun watching that game. That's right. Yeah, let's see what you guys are saying this morning in the chat. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. Let's go, Tempo. There you go. There's those colors again. Yeah, we should talk about the keys to victory. Well, one of the things we did really well against New York to be able to win was the boards. The boards were very important. And a few of the Tempo players talked about it in the interviews after the game that getting the boards was really important part of controlling the game and getting this figured out. Austin is a tough player. Irfan is a tough player to get boards against. So we're really going to have to box out and play smart and limit second chance shots for the Mystics, because that could be very much a way that they are beating us, is by beating us on the boards. So hopefully Temmy's back, Niara is okay, and we're going to play big and have big players out there. Conde and Yesqueda are important to play big at their positions. Even if they have to try and out-rebound a bigger player, they have to hold their own. I think this is a very important key to the victory. Of course, we got to track Sonia. We cannot let Sonia get going and start scoring like crazy, because she really is kind of their Caitlin Clark, their Marina Mabry on their side. And, she's been key to them winning the first two games that they played against us, as far as her getting around 20 points. So if we can slow her down, that's a good key to the victory also. But yeah, we owe them. They beat us in our first ever game when we opened our season in Coca-Cola Coliseum. And then they got a buzzer beater win against us the last time we played them. So we owe the Mystics, and we need to beat them today. And we need to have a 2-game win streak today after winning against the Liberty and hopefully against the Mystics today at Coca-Cola Coliseum tonight. That's right. Mr. Greg saying good morning to Fiercey. And to see Kawhi was at the game. Now, I thought I saw him sitting next to Dennis. Was that Dennis that was wearing the black sunglasses and the black Raptors hat? It kind of looked like Uncle Dennis. Now, he got up at halftime and walked over to half court, and he talked to Danny Green. He dapped him up while he was doing the broadcast, and they talked for a little bit. I love what Danny said in the broadcast, saying that, if the deal goes through with Kawhi and Toronto, we are a contender. That's what Danny said. He didn't say we could go all the way. He said they could get the Eastern Conference Finals with Kawhi. At least that is what he said. And George Sedano, of course, is a doubter and being a hater, being a little bastard. But yeah, Danny gave respect to the idea of Kawhi being back on the team. And, Danny knows firsthand 2 of the 3 rings he has on his hand have a big, big part in Kawhi Leonard giving them to him. So, yeah, Kawhi's a very powerful player, and it'll be nice to see him back in a Raptors jersey this year. He came over and talked to Larry Tenenbaum, former owner of the Raptors, owner of the Tempo, and, head of the board of governors. Yeah, and Bobby there too. In some ways, it's like got to be a little awkward for Kawhi to try and talk to Bobby right now. Lindsey Dunn was saying on her latest podcast that at Vegas Summer League, Bobby and Darko are not talking to the press. They won't take any questions because everybody wants to come and talk to them about the Kawhi situation. So Darko and Bobby Webster have both been ducking the press and saying, we're not taking any interviews right now until this Kawhi thing is resolved. We don't want to talk to you. So yeah, everybody's clamoring to talk to Bobby Webster. Everybody's trying to talk to Darko, and neither one of them are available for interview so far this summer league. They haven't been available for interview. Yeah, but yeah, good game yesterday. Nice to see Judy and Larry at courtside and Kawhi. Yeah, he's talking to Larry Tenenbaum. Larry likes him, right? Fierce is saying this, payback against the Mystics. That's right. They have offensive power, especially with Citron, who's back from injury, and Shakira Austin. Kiki Arifin is a problem at the rim. Please, let's win the rebounding battle. Yeah. I think that's a key part of it, is to get more rebounds than the Mystics and hold off them from second chance. That's a key part of it. Defense is not just guarding someone. Defense is rebounding. Rebounding is maybe the most important part of defense, because rebounding is closing the offensive possession for the other team by securing the ball for your own team and changing possession for yours. That is the ultimate rebounding action is ultimate defensive action is to rebound, is to close the offensive possession for the other team. There were some cool rebounds yesterday. Jamarian Sharp is so long. He can really get those rebounds. And even Nate Biddle, there was one rebound where he went really long for and just barely got it, reached out and just grabbed it and brought it down. Yeah, rebounding is such an important thing today, for sure. Raptor Freak James is in the chat. Good to see you, Raptor Freak James. Graves was the right pick this year. Someone who's ready to contribute now that we have Kawhi. You see what he's doing, James. He's just so smart. Like, he really is watching what's developing on the court, and he's moving ahead of time to be there. This is the stuff that Bird did. This is the stuff that Magic did. This is the stuff that top level, high IQ players that see the game and the game slows down for them do. And you can see how effective he is. I think one of the things that made him an analytics darling is that he really doesn't waste energy or waste anything. He really gets out there and he's effective at most everything he does. Like, whether it's stealing the ball, whether it's going to get rebound, whether it's hitting a three, he's effective. And he's effective in multiple ways, which makes him very useful. Very, very useful. And he will be a rotation player for the Raptors this year. You can see it. Can you imagine his energy out there with Scotty, Colin, Kawhi, RJ, and Emmanuel and Jakob? Yeah, you can, because he's gonna be a big part of getting steals. And think about our transition game and how quick we are down the court. Alan Graves is going to be catalyzing that. He's going to be keying on that and getting started and going. And because he has passing chops, he can get that ball up the court to people fast. And it could be an RJ dunk. It could be a shed layup. It could be all kinds of different things he's throwing the ball up the court to this year. That's right. This draft class is pretty good. A lot of good players. From what I'm hearing around Summer League, the top picks have really shown up at Vegas Summer League this year and are putting on a show and putting up numbers and looking really top notch, like AJ, Boozer, Caleb. These guys are all had monster games so far at Summer League. And I'm glad Alan Graves is in that category, because he's had his first game was a great game to step first foot in with, really good game, the first game. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's saying, love Steph or love Lundy's game. We need is shooting on our third string team. Bobby should sign him to our two-way. You love Steph? Steph? What about Steph? Seth. You mean Seth? Seth, you mean Seth? You talking about Seth Lundy? The one thing I will caution Shaq Lindsay, and this is what I will say every step of the way, he has more to prove. Listen, I want him to be consistent so that he can show that he's consistent, because, man, this guy could be a Gary Trent. That's all I got to say on this. Gary Trent can get hot like this and go crazy and get these kind of games like this. But, there's going to be an opposite side of the coin where he's absolutely cold and stuff. So he has to keep going. I'm not ready yet. You can say, go ahead and sign him, but I want to see him play really good against Miami on Thursday, play really good in the mystery game this weekend. He gets to training camp. Well, he's got to improve and look good in training camp behind the scenes with the scrimmages and the team behind the scenes. And if he gets to the point where he's playing preseason games for us, we'll publicly get to check in on him again then. None of this until preseason's over. No, you don't just hand it to somebody. They got to show a consistent track record. And, well, he's hot right now. He's hit 2 games in a row where he's been big time. This is how you do it. You got the door open, but you got to keep going. And you got to keep showing it. And to me, consistency is going to have to be the most important thing for Seth Lundy right up until October. Yeah, because it's not just now. Because half the battle to get anything on this team is in the summer. Half of it's in the fall. And in the fall, well, you want to get invited to the fall from the summer, right? And that's where we're going right now. Yeah. James is saying, any predictions on where LeBron ends up playing? Well, we haven't talked about this overly, so I don't mind talking about it a little bit. I still think he's going back to Cleveland. Somehow, some way, they'll sandwich him in with all the the people there. Maybe they'll move some people to make room or something. I don't know. It makes sense that he would come back to Cleveland, of all places, his hometown, his place where he was twice before at different times in his career. I think that's number one. I mean, in some ways, I don't really care where he goes because in some ways, the thing about this year for LeBron's going to be a circus, no matter where he goes. If this is openly, publicly his last year to play in the NBA, he's going to be a distraction for whatever team he's on. And in some ways, he may hurt the team's championship chances because everything's going to be about retirement LeBron, last year of LeBron. And people will be giving him kudos and appreciating him and stuff, but it could really be something that gets in the way of the team that acquires him from winning, is because that's just a sideshow. It's a distraction. So I think Cleveland's number one. I think that they are number one. Could there be a weird switch where he's on the Clippers now? There could be a switch like that too. I could see that where he could be on the Clippers all of a sudden in a weird way. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all goes down. In some ways, I'm not really excited about wherever LeBron's going to go. It's just going to happen, and we'll be like, okay, he's on that team this year. Because in some ways, the other thing is I don't look at LeBron as the needle pusher that he used to be, obviously, because his powers are not the same. It's not like when he left Cleveland and went to LA that was a needle pusher, because in some ways he left the East and the East became more wide open and the Raptors won. But also his powers have diminished so much since he's been in the Lakers that it's like you add him to a team. I don't think, I'm not that impressed with that. I'm not that impressed with that. And I don't think, oh, they're going to be totally a championship contender because that. Actually, I would say it's the opposite. He goes to a team and that team's championship chances go down. That's what I kind of think about it right there, James. Kaloy is here. Good morning good to see Kaloy in the chat this morning. How are you doing? And how is Santino, my guy? How is Santino doing? Morning, everyone. Graves is such a great pick. Lundy more and more fighting for that training camp invite. Yeah. He's man, keep going, man. I love how money you are with the threes. And that was such a huge play at the end of the game. Huge play. Everybody went crazy when you blocked that shot, sending it all the way to the other end of the court. It was very dramatic. It was a very dramatic ending. Major Sports Network's back in the chat this morning. Good morning, Major Sports. Hope you've been doing very well. Did the player that hit Mabry get suspended? I don't know. The Shoegate incident, I don't know. I think that the investigation has found that she didn't try to throw it at Mabry. Yeah, right. Mabry has publicly stated that I think she was trying to throw it to Jones. I'm just going to say that. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm above it. We're moving on. I don't think they got to drag it out. They did throw Lainey Hamilton out of the game at that time, and maybe that's the punishment enough. It's not like the shoe hurt Marina, but I think that the WNBA, if they really want to take a stance on projectiles being thrown on the court by players at other players, maybe they make an example out of Lainey Hamilton, but I don't see it. I think that she got the punishment enough by just being thrown out of the game at that point. And maybe she's fined. I don't know. I'm not really for player fines in the leagues. I hate when players get fined. I used to hate when NFL players would get fined for touchdown celebrations. I used to hate that, the NBA players can get fined by the league just willy-nilly for stuff they can't control. And it's kind of fascist to me, the whole fine system. But I understand why it's necessary to a degree. And I understand why, coaches may fine players for being late to practice. That stuff is important. But sometimes fines to me are kind of goofy and maybe a little overreach. So I don't know. I don't know if she's going to get anything more. I have not seen any headlines about the Liberty's Lainey Hamilton getting into more trouble than just getting ejected from the game at that time. Yeah, I'm totally in the camp that believes she totally threw that at her on purpose. Because once again, these are professional athletes. They have sharp shooting skills. They're good shooters and they're good passers. And they should be able to pinpoint where they're throwing it to, right? And apparently Jones was closer to her than Mabry, so she overshot on purpose to hit Mabry in the back. It's funny, though. It goes into the Tempo's history now. This game will always be the Shoegate game. And it'll be part of our history in the first year. And I just love that it's a victory for the Tempo. that we won the game. And yeah, that's what matters right there. Sandy got her first win against the Liberty as a tempo coach. Yeah, yeah. Mr. Greg saying, I don't think so. Yeah, she didn't. I don't think she got in any more trouble. And right, and it's kind of rightfully so. I mean, it is not the kind of behavior they want to encourage, though. So maybe there is something still. Maybe they're investigating it still. I don't know. UC's here. Good morning to UC, Raptor Freak UC. Good morning. Good morning, Tempo Gang and Raptor Freaks. This summer feels faster with having a WNBA team to keep an eye on. So glad Summer League isn't the only thing happening this time of year now. Yeah, we got CBL also. I'm going to be saying the opposite. The past few summers when I have to do off season for the Raptors, it seems like it goes by so fast in some ways. This summer is actually going longer. We're right in the middle of it right now, and we still have a whole half of the summer ahead of us, which is fantastic because I already feel like I've gotten a lot of done this summer, and I still have a lot of summer time to enjoy, which is fantastic. So I'm going to say it's been going very slow, partly because we've had these basketball games to watch. But to you, it seems fast. That's interesting. CBL, let's go check in on the Canadian Elite Basketball League. There were no games yesterday in the CBL, but tonight there is a game in Brampton, CAA Center. It'll be the River Lions versus the Honey Badgers. You can watch the game on YouTube for free. CBC Gem, CBL Plus. It's a 12:30 tip-off, so it's a school day game that's going to be going on in about 2 hours. So yeah, the two-time champion River Lions 7-10, fighting for that last Eastern playoff spot against the second in the East Honey Badgers 9-8. Yeah, the Niagara River Lions have been playing a lot better recently. Khalil Ahmad's hitting his stride, and the Lion King is out for vengeance and trying to get his team back to the playoffs. So this should be a good game today. If you're able to get down there at 12:30 this afternoon and join the kids for the screaming. I don't know if it's a school day game. This is a weird time for the middle of summer. Is school still in session? But it's a 12:30 game today. Very, very strange. But yeah, that's the only game on the ticket. And there were no games yesterday. Checking in with our Canadian Elite Basketball League update. That's right. That's right. Mr. Greg saying this. Even though he will be a second-year player next season, Will Riley looked great the other day. Canadian Will Riley is somebody we got to keep our eye on, if anything, for Team Canada stuff. He's not involved in the pool like his teammate, Kashawn George, but this time around, but he could be in the future. The thing I like about Will Riley from what I saw in his first year on the Wizards is that he's a solid scorer. He's got a nice shot, and he's a good solid scorer. So we'll just have to see, Mr. Greg, what the second year is for Washington's Will Riley, Canadian Will Riley, because Rowan Barrett's probably watching him real close. Oh yeah, he's watching real close. That Wizards team's so interesting and in flux with Trae Young committed to playing for them. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis not so committed and trying to get moved. But the young core is so interesting with Sarr and George and Koulibaly and those guys. Yeah, they have a lot of good young players on the Wizards, but once again, they don't have a good front office. They have a kind of a shady coach. Not that he's shady, he's just kind of iffy coach. And the Wizards are the Wizards. The Wizards are going wizard. That's what I got to say there. All right, let's see. We got Sal Hazari. Well, welcome to the Raptor Freak channel. Thank you for the subscription. He's saying, I don't think Kingston Flemings has cracked double digits in 4 to 5 games. Interesting. So that's a top draft pick that has not done well so far in Summer League. Very interesting. Thank you for the sub and welcome. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the comment and put some more in if you want, my guy. Let's see. Randolph is here. Good morning to Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks fam. The stone the builders refuse will be the chief cornerstone. Do not just throw away people just because you find new people. There's value in others unknown. Interesting. This is very interesting words of wisdom. This is different. This is different. It's kind of like interesting. You're saying the stone the builders refuse will be the chief cornerstone. Interesting. That's such an interesting statement. Yeah, I like the whole idea of not throwing people away. It's tough. Some of us have aspects of our personality that will rub people the wrong way at some point. And I do, definitely. I'm a 3-5 in my human design, which means I have the third line, which is the explorer experimenter, which means I have to try stuff and fail and succeed with trying stuff. I'm supposed to go and test things. I'm a tester in society. So I mess up and I'm supposed to, but I'm also finding success. And I'm one of the people that pushes the envelope to new endeavors and new kind of ideas and things because I experiment. But I also have the fifth line, which is the heretic. And the heretic is basically the person who's a truth teller and says things that are honest, but people don't want to hear the truth. And they kind of, the heretic is like a witch who's burned at the stake in Salem witch trials. So it's a tough life because in some ways, when you get to that fifth line and you start telling truths that are uncomfortable, people will throw you away. That's part of it right there. But blessings to Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah, you shouldn't discard people. If you could keep people in your life, you got to keep them at a healthy balance. If they're toxic, if they're draining you, if they're taking more than they're giving, figure out your boundaries. But, sometimes these people need the help the most, even though they're a wreck and they're kind of toxic. So yeah, real quick, I'll do my human design check-in. We are in the gate 62, which is the gate of detail, which is in the throat center of our bodies. And well, the gate of detail is, the earth is grounding us in a frequency of gate 61, allowing us to see esoteric meanings in the details. And in details, line 2 today is restraint. So today, the word of today is restraint. So think of that word today. The intellect stymied by severe restraints tends to anxiety and restlessness. The expression of anxiety and restlessness when faced with detail work. So yeah, you kind of like don't want to deal with the finer details, so you get a little anxious and kind of restless. The exaltation of it is the innate restrictiveness and discipline to comply with and exalt restraint, the discipline necessary for detail work. Now, this is in the voice, in the throat, and this is for instruction. This is the kind of gate that's good for instruction and helping people and giving them guidance. So yeah, a little check in with the HD today, and I'll say gate 62, line 2, restraint. That is the theme for today. So maybe practice some restraint in some sort of way. And also try not to get restless or anxious about a project and how heady it may be with all the different details. That's maybe the words for there. Yeah. Reggie's saying this. I hope he does go back to the Cavs so the Raptors can finish him. That would be the storybook ending that I would love to write. Kawhi comes back to Toronto. Toronto's a powerful force again. We go on a crazy run in the playoffs again where we win the championship the second time Kawhi comes back, and we're 2-2, perfect with him on our team. And in some point, we get a rematch with the Cavs from this past year in the playoffs, and LeBron's on their team, and we put him out and we retire him. We retire LeBron James, the great LeBron James. The Raptors are the team that gets the honor of putting his ass out for the rest of his life. That is a storybook ending I want to write for this season. Seriously, I want to see this. I want to see Kawhi and Scotty and Colin and RJ do something to the history of Cleveland and LeBron and what they did to us with DeMar and Kyle in the 2010s. Yeah, I want to see this boomerang come back around. Leonard's boomeranging back. Why not? Let's have this come back around like this. Sports is a 50-50 sport. Teams win and lose. Well, it may be time for us to come back and get that in that kind of way. And just imagine possible championship run where the Raptors are playing the Spurs in the finals and Kawhi is our guy. Just think about that. Wemby versus Kawhi and Scotty in the finals. Think about the drama. Think about the storylines there and the history Leonard has with the Spurs. And yeah, this is big time stuff right there. Yeah. Major Sports is saying they're just trying to get to Mabry. Mabry is having a good season. Liberty are a bunch of crybabies. Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for them. Major Sports, as a longtime WNBA fan, you know a lot about this league, and I'm still a very beginner. And, I found out a couple of things this week. I found out the Valkyries are a sham. I also found out that the coach of the Liberty is a very horrible coach. Chris DeMarco is absolutely an underhanded coach. The fact that he put Lainey Hamilton up to doing what she did to Mabry is reprehensible. I think that it's true. Like there's a weird thing in the WNBA where a player gets attention and there's all kinds of jealousy and weird like get back. The stuff with Caitlin Clark, the stuff with Angel Reese, the stuff with different players around the league where people are catty and dirty. And I think Mabry getting the 53 changed things. Like in the couple of games since she got that 53, I've been seeing a lot more aggressive physicalness with her, dirty ass play, a lot more grabbing. And, with Wheeler of Sparks coming out in interviews saying, we on purpose like to troll and piss off Mabry. We're trying to get her pissed off. I enjoy it. I love getting under her skin. This is a common thing with the players that get matched up with her. I've seen it with some of the Fever players. What's her name that comes off the bench? She was very much going at her and making it a very much a thing between them. I forget her name. She's off the bench. Stacey Sheldon. She was very much going toe to toe with Marina when we would play the Fever, and she had that role when we played Indiana. And it's like each team has some sort of shit disturber, like Ron Artest player that is supposed to get under her skin, doing like Rodman shit. Like, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder. Or I'm going to grab you when the ref's not looking. And I'm just going to try and make your life hell. And I really want to see you crash out. It's kind of like bullies in the schoolyard when you're a kid. The emotional kid got bullied the most because they got the most responses out of that kid, right? The kid that got bullied the most was the kid who cried and made the biggest deal because the bully got the most satisfaction from hurting that person. This is a similar thing. Mabry is a very sensitive person, and she wears her emotions on the sleeve. So it's really easy to check the litmus test about how much she's crashing out. So it's like a weird new level of maturity that Marina's got to grow into right now because she is that focal point person. And in some ways, this is part of being a team leader and being the number one on a team is people are coming at you. It's just like you win the championship. The next year, everybody wants to beat your ass because you're the champs. Well, Mabry's on top. Mabry's looking real good in this league right now. And people want to come at her. They want to use the mental game against her because the coaches are telling them to. I'm sure Krista Marco said, Lainey Hamilton, get in Marina's brain and throw her off. Just do all kinds of stuff because they're not going to call every foul. Foul her constantly. Hold her, grab her jersey, do every dirty thing in the world because they'll call some of it and they will, but some of it they won't, So I think this is the phenomenon that's going on in major sports. And I think that, you can see it with Caitlin Clark. You can see it with Angel Reese too, both of them. And it's probably equally happening to them. People are trying these people in the league, partly for their notoriety and their prestige, and partly because of jealousy and also feeling like, you're getting more attention than I am. And I've been in this league 10 years, and you should not be getting attention more than all of us because you haven't earned it yet. Yeah, I think that's a lot of that energy. And, I commend Marina. And she said publicly, like in the press conference after the game against Liberty, that I'm really trying hard not to get rage baited. And that's what they're trying to do. You're exactly right. They are coming at her and they're trying to rage bait her because they know, like the sensitive kid in the schoolyard, they can get reactions from her easy, at least historically. But that may change because she's becoming more stoic and a little bit more heady about that type of strategy being employed against her to try and throw her off her game. This is the classic thing for her to be like, you know what? You're going to fuck with me like this? The best way for me to get back at you is to hit these threes and kick your ass and get that W. Yeah, it's totally happening, and you can see it. And you think the Liberty are a bunch of crybabies? I have a lot of respect for Breanna Stewart. She's a powerful player and a great in this league for over all time. But yeah, there are definitely some thuggish players on the Liberty, and their coach is really a bad dude. Like, he's such a jerk. Like, listening to him in the press conference after the game, I was like, this is not the way a coach should speak. This dude is whining and complaining about foul calls for his team. And in some ways, it's like, bro, get yourself together. If you're the leader of your team, I can understand why your team acts like the way it does. Seriously. And if you were hiring Lainey Hamilton to come out and be a hit girl on Marina Mabry, I mean, I get it. That's the kind of stuff you do in the playoffs. You want to win big time games and series. You may do this kind of psychological mental warfare, but in the middle of the season, in games like this, I mean, that's kind of cheap. And well, you guys keep testing Mabry, she might start passing the test every time and not taking y'all's bait. Yeah, that's what I want to see more. That growth from Marina. Marina's blown up. She's a franchise leader. She's an expansion team. She's got a bigger role. She's getting new numbers that are unforeseen in her career. And you know what? Part of that comes with this is that you've got to be mentally tough because they're coming at you. They're coming at you. That's right. UC saying this. I just want LeBron to not consider us in the slightest. As long as we get Kawhi, then it's basically a perfect offseason. Yeah, I don't see LeBron coming to Toronto. I really don't see that. And in some ways, I wouldn't worry about this. I wouldn't. Kaloy's saying this. To be honest, I hate all this LeBron sweepstakes. James is making this offseason all about him instead of just going gently into the retirement. I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him that's doing this. It's ESPN. It's the media that does this. LeBron's not asking for all this. It's just he's a huge story. And this is a huge story. I mean, the divorce with the Lakers had been coming for a few years. In fact, I thought it was going to happen last summer. The way they were talking and saying they can't meet on this, but then he did come back and play last year with the Lakers. But yeah, it really is coming apart now. There's no going back to LA and crypto and the purple and gold for LeBron at this point. So, this is a huge story. This deserves this, even though you're kind of like, he's just taking all the spotlight. Who cares? Let him have the spotlight. It's none of that means anything. And the U.S. media is going to do this. They will, Kaloy. They will. They're going to do this. UC saying this. Great way of looking at it, Lex. I guess my upcoming trip is making it feel faster. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's just like, I think it's because of the tempo. I think it is because of the tempo, because I'm like looking forward to games. And you know what it may be too? The WNBA season spaced out more than the NBA season. And with the NBA season having so many games, like every other day almost, the season goes by so quick because I'm so busy. But with the tempo season, there's a little bit more spaced out between days. There's more often 2 days between games or 3 days. And in some ways, I get that break and kind of get time to reflect. And then I feel like, time is going by slower because I get more time in the garden because I'm not so heavy on doing games. Although there have been a ton of games with Summer League this week, covering the Summer League and the tempo at the same time. Yeah, this has been a bit of a workload, watching basketball every day. If I'm not watching the Raptors at Summer League, I'm watching the tempo. I'm watching Scarborough Shooting Stars in Canadian Elite Basketball League. Watching Team Canada play against Jamaica and Puerto Rico. So it's been like so much basketball this summer. I'm not hating this. It's normally summer is a drought for basketball, but not anymore now that the tempo are here. And I'm paying way more attention to CBL. So yeah, it's really cool. Shaq Lindsay saying this, LeBron has no desire to play for the Cavs. It is well known that he does not get along with the owner and he has no real connection with the players on the roster. It would be a weird fit. It would be a weird fit because, they got their big four. They got Mitchell, Harden, Allen, and Mobley. And they kind of did a little bit of shuffling already this summer. I'm going to have to look at their final roster before the season to see exactly the finer changes. I know Dean Wade's gone. And but I don't remember who they picked up. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that to me is the storybook ending. I mean, this kid from Akron goes back to Ohio for home for the last year. Yeah, Dan Gilbert don't get along with him? Interesting. I mean, that makes sense. He did come and go a few times. And in some ways, the whole Miami switch was they kind of really pissed Cleveland people off. But then he came back and he did win a championship with them to give them a championship. The Cavs never had a championship until LeBron did that. So, let's see. Ghost is back. Good to see Ghost back in the chat. Are you talking about Habs fans? Laugh out loud. Am I talking about Habs fans? No, I don't think so. I wasn't talking about any Habs fans. I thought that Montreal did a fantastic job this weekend. All right, let's talk about this real quick. This is my Redditor of the day for the Tempo. Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day is Kaz on Reddit. Kaz on Reddit's been fantastic. Between Kaz on Reddit and Kerfuffles, they really keep us informed. But yeah, Kaz on Reddit has posted the Toronto Tempo's attendance halfway through the 2026 season. And well, they're in the top 10. We are, we got to realize that Coca-Cola Coliseum has one of the smaller capacities in the WNBA. We only can seat 8,500 in there. Now, these Canada games that we're doing across the country in Vancouver and Montreal have ballooned our numbers, and the Scotiabank game with Phoenix. So the Tempo are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10th in the league. They are averaging 10,000 fans per game, and that's with an 8,000 arena. And their highest was the game this past week on Friday against the Wings. 20,996 is the highest attendance in a regular season game for a WNBA game ever. And that's our highest attendance for the year. And our lowest has been 8,142 at Coca-Cola. So, the Vancouver games will boost our totals again. And a couple more Scotiabank Arena games also will boost our totals again. But yeah, I love to see the stats. And Kaz on Reddit, I appreciate this table being posted on Reddit today with the full data breakdown of our numbers in our inaugural season for attendance. So thank you, Kaz on Reddit, you are the Tempo Redditor of the day. That's right. Yeah, Montreal showed up. I'm very proud of them. The first game, 20,000. The second game, 12,000. I mean, we could have had more people at that Liberty game on Sunday, I guess. Yeah, Major Sports is saying this. The last time the Fever, played the Liberty, they shot 46 free throws, 23 in the fourth quarter, and Breanna Stewart shot 19 of them and still complains. Yep. Yeah, so you agree with me what I'm saying about DeMarco and his team. Yeah, there was really a weird thing that happened in our game on Sunday where the referees totally railroaded the Liberty to come back. We were beating them by like almost 20 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And then there was this whole period of time when the fourth quarter started where every single call went against us. And Sandy made light of this in the interview after the game, saying that the refs were really, really against us for the whole fourth quarter. And it was kind of this weird thing where the trends for the Tempo right now are that they choke in the fourth quarter. That this 4-game losing streak that we just ended by beating the Liberty on Sunday, we were basically having leads and then we couldn't score anything in the fourth quarter. Part of it's because Slim and Kiki are out and there really are extra offense to help Marina. And we kind of run out of gas in the fourth quarter. Part of it is also other WNBA teams are clamping up in the fourth quarter and we're not finding ways to score, especially if they shut down Mabry and none of the other players are stepping up. So we've choked and lost games in the fourth quarter during this losing streak. And we were going to do it again on Sunday. But we had a huge lead going in and we held on and just by the skin of our teeth held them off. We did not score a lot of points in that fourth quarter, but because we had such a healthy lead, we just barely beat the Liberty. And it's despite the refs and being 8 versus 5 in that fourth quarter, because they were calling all kinds of crazy fouls on us and nothing for us. And every call, like possession call, was going in the favor of the Liberty, and they were propping them up. And I could blatantly see it. In fact, in my reaction on Monday to that game yesterday, I talked about how it really was 8 versus 5 in the fourth quarter. And kudos to the Tempo for being strong, holding through it, holding them off, and still getting the W through that. Because I could see league storylines starting to be written there where they were really trying to help the Liberty come back and get the win right at the end of the game. Yeah, so you can see this probably. Major Sports understands this from seeing it against the Fever. Yeah, let's see. The Department of Justice are investigating the WNBA. Yeah. This is about the thing with Caitlin Clark. I think that this is kind of just a dog whistle. In some ways, this is idiot pedophile who's trying to distract from things with something just kind of silly. There's so many much more important things to be dealing with in the United States than this investigation into the WNBA. I feel like in some ways, sure, they maybe in earnest, they wanted to figure out what's going on with Caitlin Clark, but also at the same time, they want to hurt the WNBA. Like they want to taint it. It's no joke that Donald Trump had the FBI come and get Chauncey Billups on the first day of the season last year with an FBI probe on gambling. That really made the NBA look bad right at the beginning of their season. And that was calculated. So, in some ways, this administration of criminals is not a fan of basketball. And they are hurting Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert by doing these investigations and making a big deal of it and making publicity. Some of this is nefarious. Some of it's not genuine. I don't think they really care about Caitlin Clark. I think that it's more that they care about maybe giving scandal or controversy to the WNBA, and maybe even like have casual people say, "Well, I'll never watch that even more now because it's like this." It's kind of like that. Oh yeah, Sheldon plays for the Chicago Sky. Yeah, I know she did it for one of those two teams, so she did it for the Sky. Yeah, she's just really who is it on y'all's team that does it? She's a blonde girl too that comes off the bench on the Fever. I'll look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, who is that's on y'all's team? I'll remember once I see the roster exactly who it is. She has like two names, I think. It was no, it's not her. It's not Lexi Hall. Is it Lexi Hall? No. Maybe I'm just getting JC Sheldon confused. Like I thought she was on y'all's team. Cause there was a girl that had two last names that was doing it for, I thought for the Fever. She was kind of the one that was kind of messing with Mabry when we played them. But yeah, JC Sheldon, when she plays Mabry, that's a really interesting matchup. They're really going at each other. And I was thinking that JC Sheldon kind of looks like the Grayson Allen of the WNBA. The way she plays, too. She kind of plays like dirty and kind of the way that Grayson Allen plays. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying this. Oh, wow. Yikes. Watch out, WNBA. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all a dog and pony show. I think it's all just dressing. I mean, what are they going to do? What are they really going to do? Are they going to shut down the league because of this? No. What are they going to do? I feel like it's just a whole kind of like show. And it's not really, there's not anything to it. I think it's just another one of those things where, like, let's make more distractions in different ways. Shitty reflecting pool, destroy the White House. Yeah, just don't think about me being a pedophile, raping girls, and burying them in the golf course with Robin Leach. Yeah, don't think about that. Anything but that. Yeah, we're going to investigate the WNBA. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to destroy the climate. We're going to destroy everybody's healthcare. Yeah, we'll do all this stuff. Let's see. I think Lex meant Cunningham. No, it wasn't Cunningham because I'd remember Cunningham. I seen that clip of her pointing the finger, and then I seen that she was at UFC this weekend. It's really gross that she's so close with Dana White. Like seeing her with Dana White hugging him like in the last couple of days, it's gross. He's a gross guy. He's just a really bad person. Like seriously, he's a bad person. Allowing that fighter to say that awful thing about Michelle Obama and encouraging it and kind of being okay with it. Yeah, he's just a scummy guy. And I mean, in some ways, Sophie Cunningham, I don't know who she is in her real life and what she's all about, but you get kind of like associations. You got to watch those seriously. Maybe it's a fun thing to go be a ring girl and hold the sign and stuff like that, but I wouldn't want to be associated with Dana White in the UFC. I would not. No, I wouldn't. No. Let's see. Major Sports is saying the Caitlyn thing has got out of control. She would say that it has because she doesn't like this. The biggest problem in the league is not the Caitlin Clark thing. The biggest problem is the racism and the messages and the abuse people are taking. Alyssa Thomas did a very scummy thing and punched her in the throat, but the feedback and the backlash has been reprehensibly ugly and gross and racist in all kinds of crazy ways. And, different WNBA players are sharing messages they're getting from fans. Part of it is the prop betting. There's like betting on players has allowed fans to be stupid. And when they lose money, they lash out in instant messages towards players. And they say the craziest shit. We saw Bradley Beal exiting a court in recent years in Orlando. And a fan said something to him about him not hitting his parlay. And Beal was like, I don't care. This is stupid. This has added a whole level of toxic. And this is what the Congress should be investigating is threats and of violence towards players, racist comments towards players because of prop betting and ugly ass fans making threats. Because this is a bigger, worse epidemic in some ways, in my opinion. The thing with Caitlyn, she tell you herself, I'm fine. Everything's fine. People are making a big deal out of this more than they should. I'm a competitor. I'm gonna play. I'm tough. Y'all don't need to do this for me. In some ways, she would stand up for the people that people think are hurting her, than be against them. Because she doesn't like any of this energy coming at these people, the racist energy, the private messages, the ugliness, because it's bad. It's bad. They don't get paid like the NBA players. Totally, they're getting paid better this year with the new CBA, but they still don't get paid enough to deal with this headaches and this bullshit. Prop betting is one of the worst things that ever happened to sports. And encouraging and allowing okay with racist people being racist towards people in the league and sending really awful bad messages. Yeah, where are we going, United States? Y'all are trying to go back to Jim Crow. Y'all are trying to go back to before the civil rights movement. Y'all are trying to go back to slavery. Y'all trying to go back to treating black people as inhuman and subjugating them, because some people in that country want that. The percentage of them, these are MAGA people, idiots that follow Trump, white supremacists. And well, they're encouraged to do this by things in the WNBA. And then all of a sudden they come out of the woodworks and they're N-word this, N-word that, and private messages to WNBA players. It's ugly. It's ugly. And it's wrong. And that's where the investigation should be. Caitlin Clark would say, you know what? Look, I'm a lightning rod. Some people really hate me and some people really love me. And that's just part of fame. That's just part of fame right there. That's it. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Let's see. Sharp is great on lobs. Sharp would benefit more playing with Scotty. They could possibly be a force in the paint. In the NBA, they're not going to allow Sharp to be Sharp. That's the thing. In Summer League, when you got people that don't know what they're doing, college players that are just fresh and new, they're going to make mistakes all over the place, and Sharp can get away with it. But in the NBA, they won't let him do any of this stuff. It'd be really hard for him to carve out any kind of offense in the NBA. So in theory, it sounds great, but I don't know if it's realistic to happen, is what I'm saying. Kaloy's saying this, don't mind me. I'm just a certified LeBron hater. Santino is so big now and very strong. Can't wait till I get him in basketball classes. That's awesome. I love hearing that. Yeah, I love hearing that. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying LeBron has a close connection with Draymond and Steph. LeBron has said he wants to play with Steph before he retires. That is the other spot that I've heard is Golden State. Is that Golden State? Yeah. I mean, we could see that. Draymond loves LeBron too. So yeah, in some ways that's a fit. Although I thought Draymond might be on the outs with the Warriors and not stick around there. That's one of the things I might have heard too. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying Harden playing for the Cavs may prevent LeBron from playing there. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, Major Sports is laughing about me talking about Sophie Cunningham. You have an amazing show. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, no filter. And there's no subject I won't touch on. And once again, I should always preface it as saying this show here does not reflect the opinions of the Toronto Tempo, the Toronto Raptors, or anybody else other than the host. And even then, it's like I don't portray all the opinions of the Raptor Freak family and all the people that frequent this show and are fans of the show too. So it's just a forum, and we will talk about stuff in other places that are important that maybe some people don't want to talk about, especially the mainstream media. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying, what veteran big men are left? Well, I don't even, honestly, I could see us just going with these guys ahead. I mean, I'm not against Sharp coming in, but I think that what you got to do with him is two-way him. He's got to be mostly on the 905. You give a regular contract to Biddle. You let Biddle be the backup center, and he runs with us. But he could play in 905 also and could be set down also. You put him on a rookie contract, rookie scale, and you don't necessarily two-way him. So maybe you two-way Jamarian, Chucky, and Jaden, and those are our 3 two-ways. And Nate Biddle is a regular Raptor, but he also is a rookie status, so he can play on 905 also. and you stash those guys down there. And then if things go weird, like hopefully Yak has a very successful, healthy year this year. Depending on that, maybe you bring Biddle up just in case, and he plays more on the big club in the place of possibly Yak. Because I could see us filling our team with center depth with those two guys. And Evo's saying after the game in the post game interview that I like both of them. He's probably just like Darko. Darko's probably saying the same thing. I like a little bit of both of what they're doing. There's really an offensive defensive contrast there. Biddle really does have some good offensive stuff with that 3-point shot. And he's a solid guy up and down the court, and he will rebound, and he does have defensive presence. So I really like Nate Biddle. I want to see him play for the Raptors this year, the Toronto Raptors, and not just the Raptors 905. Now, Jamarian's still a project. We got to try and figure out if you can get him offensively better. He's got to be better at free throws. And even if they could just make some sort of hook shot for him or something like that, it would make a huge, huge difference. In some ways, it's such a waste. You're 7'5", and you can't figure out a sky hook. Come on, Kareem. Get a sky hook. Nobody be able to block you or stop you. Come on, Jamarian. Get in there and start doing a little woo. Start doing that a lot. Drew Jones, get in there with him and teach him some big man stuff. That's right. Major Sports is saying, how does it look for the Tempo making the playoffs? It's a call. I mean, to me, it's man, we'll look at it currently. I'll go look at it, the standings currently right this second, because we were there. We were in the 8th spot for the longest time, but now we're two games back. The Mystics, the team we're playing today, are in the last spot right now. And we're tied with Portland at 10-13. And we're 7.5 games back, and the Mystics are 5.5 games back. So, the thing about it is, Major Sports, the Tempo have had their easiest part of their schedule pass through already. It was the beginning of the year, and we haven't seen a lot of the tough teams yet at all. We haven't played the Aces yet until we play them next Monday. And we're going to have to play them 3 times before the end of the season, at least, I think 3 times. And we haven't played the Lynx hardly at all. So we're going to get all these tougher opponents, and it's going to be harder for us to even our record out to 500. So right now we're 10-13, 3 games below 500. And I really do think, like the NBA, 500 and above is who gets the playoffs, right? So we got to gauge that by evening out our wins and losses. So, man, right now the Sparks are ahead of us for that last spot, and Washington's sitting in it. So, you know what? I'd be nice to make the playoffs in our first year, but I'm not holding my breath on it. And considering that we have the most lost games to injury in the whole entire WNBA this year, and we're a first-year team, this is impressive that we're even kind of in contention to possibly make the playoffs. And if we don't, I mean, we got a lot of good excuses for it. Our number 1 rookie, Kiki Rice, has been out most of the season. And Brittany Sykes, really such a powerful player, a probable all-star if she doesn't get hurt. So we got excuses here. Yeah, we got excuses. Major Sports is saying, I like Mabry and Kiki Rice. I really like Rice. And there was a fantastic hour-long Sue Bird podcast with our $1 million backcourt, Mabry and Sykes. And when Sue brought up Kiki Rice, both Marina and Brittany's faces lit up, and in unison, they were like, we love Kiki. We love Kiki. Oh my gosh, she's so good. And Marina's basically saying stuff like, she does everything right. She does everything right. Like, I'm just impressed with her. She's so smart, and she just knows everything to do as a rookie coming in. And I just love playing with her. Like, it's so good to play with her. So 2 huge thumbs up from the 2 main stars of the Tempo for their rookie Kiki, endorsing her. And man, it's unanimous. They were glowing about it. And you don't fake that kind of enthusiasm about a player. You need to say, yeah, nice things about it. But they were like passionately talking about how much they love Kiki. Passionately. They're like, yeah, we are so happy she's on our team. So I look at it this way. I think that Monica Wright-Rogers and Teresa Resch did a really good job getting the first real, like, kind of cornerstone rookie building block in their first draft. And we got to add them every year. I look at the Raptors because I know them very well. and how they built their team up with Damon Stoudemire the first year, Marcus Camby, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter. They got really good draft picks to build up the talent level of the Raptors. And the Tempo need this because we, as much as we've had some success and we've had really interesting rookie class with Yusketa and Conde and Tiani Key, we need to add more big blocks, big building blocks to our team through the draft in the next couple of years. And I would like to see them next year draft a big. If we can get a solid big to balance out the $1 million backcourt and Kiki, that would make us a little bit more powerful and dangerous. Because I feel like we're so doting on the guards that our weakness down low has been really hard to overcome to a point in certain ways. So yeah, I'm excited for more Kiki Rice. In fact, her being out a big chunk of the season has been such a shame because man, she's good. She is so good. She is so good. Yeah, so good. Yeah, there's still time. Yeah. I did my injury report at the beginning of the show, and they're speculating that both Rice and Sykes possibly could be back for that Aces game on Monday, the game before the All-Star break. There's they've been participating in practice at different levels. Sykes is not in practice running with the team, but she's doing drills and doing things at practice, and same for Kiki. So there's some signs that they're physically starting to try and get better and come back with the ankle sprain and the plantar fasciitis. The fasciitis. Yeah. Let's see what else y'all are saying here. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying Nick Richards and Drew Eubanks is available. I don't know if those guys are worth getting. Nick Richards is interesting because he's Kentucky and he's a very close friend of Emmanuel. Like if we got Richards on our team, that wouldn't not shock me because Nick Richards works out in the offseason with Quickly. So there's already a good rapport between our point guard and the backup center, Nick Richards. So if he shows up and he's a part of our group, I'd be happy. Even though he's kind of a trash player on offense in certain ways, and he's just in some ways he's kind of been like different teams have had him on the team. Nobody really kept him around. But his connection with Quickly is valuable. And he is a true NBA big, and he's more proven than our guys that are in summer league. So if we do get Richards, I'll be happy. I'm not really big on Eubanks. Eubanks isn't a true center. He's kind of like a small forward with a big size because his game is very shooting and kind of like Duncan Robinson kind of way, and not really like what we need for that position. We don't really need Drew Eubanks. He's not the right one. We need a true big, and Nick Richards is a true big. Yeah, Major Sports is saying hopefully it gets better when Kiki Rice and Sykes get back. Yeah, well, we need them as reinforcements just to match the challenge that we're going to have with these tougher teams coming up. Not as many games against teams like the Sun and the Mercury and the Storm for us. We played a lot of those games with them already, and they're in our record. So, yeah, Eubanks is trash. Fiercey's right. And Mr. Greg agrees. I'm not sure if he agrees with Eubanks or he just agrees with some of the stuff I've been talking about. Probably about what I was saying about for the draft. I think this is what he was agreeing about. Major Sports is saying, it's not like you guys are getting beat up. You guys are competing. I know. That's the thing that's really promising. And that's why Sandy has said all year long, I just want my team all together so we can really see who we are. There's been maybe like 2 games this whole season where we've had the majority of our team. At the beginning of the year, it was Isabel and Temi were out, and Niara has been in and out the whole season here and there. And then when Sykes and Rice went out, we got Isabel back then. So it's like they haven't lined up and been on the court all together in certain ways. And it sucks. We want to see this. But yeah, this is good news. And it kind of forbodes that it shows that we will be a very powerful team at full health. Because right now, the biggest problem with our losing streak that we just had was manufacturing points. We really miss Sykes and Sykes' ability to put in like 20 plus points in a game. And Mabry is too much on the only one out there. They really come and really key on her. But with Brittany out there, and they even talked about this in the Sue Bird podcast, there was a game earlier this season. They played against the Mercury in Phoenix on our first West Coast road trip ever. And they were talking about it like it was so fun. Basically, Brittany and Marina were taking turns just scorching the Mercury. They couldn't do anything. It was kind of like Mabry was saying, yeah, it was like Slim would go and do it her turn, go down the court, and then I would come down and do my turn. And we were just killing them. They couldn't stop either one of us. And we are picking a 1-2 punch and going, taking turns, just scoring on them like crazy. And they were enjoying it. And they, the other thing, the insight I got from the Bird podcast is just how connected they are. Like Sykes and Mabry really are Jersey girls that have connected. They have the same agent. They've known each other for a long, long time. Brittany Sykes played with Michaela Mabry early on, and that's her introduction to the Mabry family. And then also, like, they are kind of the executive players on the team, because they talked about their whole dynamic of being good cop, bad cop with the other players. They have like 5-6 rookies on this team, and they're all learning the WNBA, and they're European, a lot of them. And so Sykes and Mabry in their leadership, they are coming down on them. Like Mabry's like talking about I yell at them. I'm the bad cop. And Sykes is like, let me yell at them sometime. Marina's like, no, I'll do it. You're the good cop. You have to be the nice, nurturing one, and I'll be the jerk. I'll be the one yelling at them in practice. So there's kind of like an executive 2-woman committee of Sykes and Mabry as leadership on the team, and how they dole that out and who's the good cop and the bad cop is very interesting, the dynamic, because like Marina's all about yelling at them and telling them they need to do better. It's like quality control. They're quality control, and they're definitely keeping those things up. It's such a good interview. I highly recommend. It's a must watch for all Tempo fans. Check out the latest Sue Bird podcast. It's an hour and 10 minutes of just Marina and Brittany Sykes with her, and she said some really nice things about, like, she compared them to that great historic Sun of Mercury backcourt, Taurasi and her running mate, and they were like so like they were very like touched. They were like, wow, you just gave us a huge compliment. I mean, every time Brondello brings up Taurasi and compares Marina to her, like when she did the 53 points, she said, this is the best game I've ever seen anybody play for me ever. And she's including all the games where she coached Diana Taurasi. This is huge. And Marina's like, just like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. I mean, she's described Marina Mabry at times in the post-game conference as Taurasian. Marina was very Taurasian tonight. And Marina's just loving it. She's just eating it up. And she's like, oh man, I'm really arriving. So Coach Sandy Brondello thinks I play like the great Diana Taurasi. It's awesome. It's awesome stuff, man. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. All right, let's see. No. Wait, where am I in the chat? Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, I know Drew is trash, just a reach. You're just looking at who's out there and you're just reporting who's there. Well, I definitely side with Richards if we're going to choose between the two of them. It's not that Richards isn't trash either. It's just that in some ways he fits the needs that our team would want. And that's basically 6 fouls and a big body to hold up space and hopefully do some good defensive rim protection around the basket and just hold people out with strength and be able to run up and down the court and just know to get out of the way. And also, be able to run NBA stuff to get baskets if he does get a little bit of a chance to score. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they'll be playing. I don't know if it's for sure. It's just what they're saying on the ESPN update for the injuries to Rice and Sykes is possibly Monday is the soonest they could be back. Yeah. Fiercely saying lots of young girls and even adults had Paige's jersey and posters made for her. She has a huge impact and is also an advocate for equity and discrimination. Yes. Paige Beckers has been very outspoken about supporting African-American players in the WNBA and possible racist attacks that are coming against them. Their teammates, they'll see it. They'll see it. They're sitting in the locker room and people will be getting stuff and they'll show it to them. And I'm sure they're like, yeah, she is very popular. And it's cool because Montreal, it's a rivalry city to Toronto. And it's kind of funny when we do play games with the Raptors in Montreal for preseason. There is a certain section of the crowd that is not for the Raptors that are cheering for our opponents. And that may just be Maple Leafs and Habs kind of stuff right there. It's like there are some Montreal people that love sports and will come to the games when they come and play there, like Bell Center this past weekend. But they're not cheering for Toronto because they can't because of the Leafs and the Habs. So, yeah, there were definitely Wings fans at the game on Friday, and there were Liberty fans at the game on Sunday too. There were fans of the other teams in there for sure. Yeah, let's see. Fiercey saying, I'm not surprised she drew more fans than the Liberty. I think that it's also that the Tempo and Teresa kind of advertised that Friday night game to be the one to go for the record. If they had put more emphasis on the New York game, they might have gotten the same kind of crowd. But you're right. Paige Beckers is actually in some ways like on the down low a huge star for this league, and she's getting better and better. I really think it's the stuff on the court. Like I watch her. This is the thing. I'm watching everybody kind of cold first time, and I've seen Paige twice in the last week, and in both games she impressed me. In some ways, to me, she's doing stuff with her scoring that's very Kobe or Michael Jordan, as far as just unstoppable, taking contact and finishing through it, just being a very money shot maker, just a really great all around player. And in fact, she's got that whole aspect of playmaking too, where she gets assists. So yeah, she's the real deal. I respect the hell out of her. She's somebody that is going to be a face of this league for years to come. Yeah, there's certain teams I've definitely respected, and I think a lot of, like the Wings and the Dream. But there's some other teams that I don't totally respect, like the Liberty and the Valkyries. Yeah, I mean, I respect individuals on the Liberty just because of their pedigree and their time, but I don't respect the team overall. And I do not understand the Valkyries. I don't understand like why everybody thinks they're so good. I think that they're propped up by the league, and they wanted to make them a feel good story last year, and they're still doing it right now. Because honestly, there's nothing special about the Golden State Valkyries. They are getting helped by the WNBA. I'm going to say that right now. They're getting helped. Seriously, because we matched up really well with them. And honestly, we should have beaten them when we played them the other day. But they got a lot of help from the refs. Yeah, let's see. UC saying this. A few years ago, the only time I watched a game and did an over-under, that shit felt like a postseason game during the regular season. I'm never doing that again. It was only like a $25 bet, thankfully. It's addictive and it's insidious. And people that have addictive personalities like myself as an alcoholic who's been in AA for 17 years, I haven't had a drop of alcohol since 2010. I can get into addictive patterns, and to me, it's really awful because because I speculate and I know a lot about the sport, I could easily make a lot of money off of gambling on basketball, but I don't want to ever open that door because I know at a certain point I won't be able to control myself because of my addictive personality. So it's insidious. It's like in some ways I hate that these commercials are on all the time because they are tough on me, just like a Budweiser commercial would be tough on me. I see a beer commercial and I'm like, oh man, well, those days are over. You're not doing that no more. Your beer koozies up in the rafters like a jersey. You're not doing no more drinking, Lex. You had your 20-year career of drinking and you're retired. And well, I don't want to ever start a career in gambling. I worry. My friend Stevie Roots, who's just like me, he's got addictive personality. He's all up in this gambling, and I worry about him. I joke with him. I was like, "There's one day you're gonna be running around in a barrel, and that's gonna be your clothes because you lost everything or something." Oh no, Lex, don't worry about me, man. I got the same money from the beginning. I'm staying in the black the whole time. I won't spend more than I make. Okay, Steve. That's not how casinos are designed. And gambling can be like that, but he's doing a good job, I guess. So he's making more money than he's losing so far, but I don't trust it, man. And it's addictive. He can't stop. He does it every day. He can't stop. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. UC saying, I got mad respect for Bradley Beal for not caring about that fan's dumb prop bet. That's what I'm saying. Like Adam Silver is not thinking about safety for the players. All it takes is one fan being an idiot and an addict to sports gambling and gambling his whole entire money away, losing himself financially, crushing a family's ability to eat or have a house or losing a mortgage. And then all of a sudden they're mad at the player irrationally, even though it's their own damn fault because they've been gambling. And they do something violent or crazy to the player as a backlash. It's just a really bad horror story. And that's the thing. I don't think that the leagues are protecting the players correctly because it's not just an interaction like what I just said or Bradley Beal talking to a fan in person in the arena. It's all the social media stuff, the DMs, the underlying stuff that gets sent to these guys. That it's not right to either the WNBA women or the NBA men that are playing these leagues because that's a whole aspect of like mental health crisis for players. Someone will say, yeah, that's why they get paid $40 million a year or something like that because of the pressure and all this kind of stuff. But still, there's a certain level of like dehumanization and insults and things that can be sent to people that is not good for people's mental health. And I think that there's an epidemic of this that's going to come up on the down low. And in some ways, it'll have shades of like uh, teenage social media problems with kids in high school these days with bullying and harassment. It's the same energy, except it's against a professional player that didn't make enough rebounds. So this guy lost his house and now he's sending death threats to this person. It's just a really stupid thing. I say the middle road is Adam Silver. If you just have to have gambling involved with the sports, you've opened it up. The capitalists are saying you can't close it now. We're making the money and it's over and done with. The genie's out of the bottle. Well, you need to regulate it a little better. And I say the first thing you do is you get rid of individual prop betting because, first of all, you don't have any Jonte Porters happening. You don't have any Malik Beasleys and Ed Davises happening. And you don't have this worry of single individuals getting targeted for their individual stats themselves. If it's all just team betting and no prop betting on individual stuff, this is way better. Why do you guys need to bet on everything? Can you just bet on the team stuff, the outcome of the game? Maybe like the margins with the teams and not so much with players' individual stats. Because I think that is the middle ground. That is the place where things get safe and you cut out some of the dumb problems that could possibly happen with fans losing their shirts and all of a sudden want retribution towards players because they delusionally think that they're to blame because they didn't do this. Well, you're to blame because you did the gambling in the first place. That's it right there. That's it right there. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm not impressed with Nate. It's just me, but he is even slower than Yak with back issues. No, I don't see that. He's been getting up and down the court fine. The other thing that shows that he's fine is he's rolling around on the ground to get after loose balls. If somebody's all messed up or not well, he can't do that. He's definitely hitting the ground and getting after the ball as a 7-foot guy. I mean, I don't see what you're saying. The guy's a very good shot blocker. He's a great 3-point shooter. He's a good rebounder, and he's a defensive post presence. So I can't see what you're saying. I mean, you can see it how you see it, but man, I see him as very useful. He is on an Exhibit 10, and he's already been invited to training camp. So he will be a part of our fall preseason. He's already invited. Yeah. Major Sports is saying it's impressive how Mabry is stepping up. I like the stories that have been coming out recently talking about how this evolution happened. How, she's a journeywoman from team to team and never really finding a spot. How she came off the bench for Connecticut. The transition for being like a leader last year for the Sun with a younger team. Some of the older vets transitioned out of the game from the Sun, and she took on more responsibility of being a vocal leader. And now she's a franchise leader. And she's like a franchise face of a brand new team this year. So there's been baby steps leading up to this. And in some ways also, you got to think about as a person, she had to get to a certain age and maturity and also understanding life and the WNBA with enough time served and understanding the lay of the land and everything to be at this point. I think that once again, also, she had a really bad year last year, she kept saying. And she only shot like 30% from three or something. She wanted to up that, and she wanted to get her scoring up because she was disappointed in how she played. She also didn't think she was doing enough work with her conditioning and how she was doing her workouts. So she switched all that up after last WNBA season. And she started to show the signs of the benefits of her switch up with her routine and unrivaled in what she did with the Lunar Owls this year. And that's really like the first part of this season is the unrivaled season and her breaking the record in that league for scoring and just how badass she was in there. That was kind of the sign that, well, and it could very well be that the tempo when they were looking at the expansion draft and putting her as the marker, as the core player and drafting her in the expansion draft was like, yeah, look at what she's doing in the Lunar Owls. And she's ramping up. And I could see her being at this level. So they took that chance and well, it's paying off because she is evolving and she is getting to new levels as a player. She's a true all-star. And I want to see her in the three-point shootout next week. And I think that she can continue to be an all-star year in, year out and continue to play at this high level. One of the things she said on the Super podcast also was Sykes was making fun of her for not breaking the record outright. She's saying, you got 53, but why didn't you just break the record? You could have been great. And Marina said, shush to Brittany and said, shush, I'm still going to go do it by the end of this season. So she has the intention to still try and get 10 3-pointers made and also break 53 points this season if she can. Now, I don't know if they play the Sparks again this season. So that would be the easiest team to do it against is the LA Sparks, the team she got 53 on before. But I was the same way. I was like, why do you want to be on the same record with Asia Wilson and Cambridge? Why do you want to share the record with them? You're right there. Go get it. Go get it. You know, it's not given every time chance to get to those heights with scoring and that kind of stuff. You could have got one more three and you would have 56 points and you would have broken both records. You would have had the most threes ever in a WNBA game, 10, and you would have had the most points ever above Wilson and Liz Cambridge. So, yeah, it's an interesting journey for her, and I love it too. It's very impressive, and it's something that she changed and worked on because she changed her routine and how she does things in the offseason and in her conditioning. That was another big thing. Her conditioning is way better this year than it was last year on Connecticut. That's a big part of the difference right there. Because she has to run all over the place. Oh my gosh, she's running all over the place. She's like Steph Curry and Fred VanVleet with Miles Rand on the court. She's just everywhere. Everywhere. That's right. That's right. All right, let's see what else y'all are saying. Loving the conversation today. Lots of cool stuff. We're switching back and forth from NBA to WNBA, and this is fantastic. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see. Let's see. Where am I here? Okay, yeah, I'm here right here. Kaloy, ban prop betting. That system is predatory in nature. I bet too, but only with wins and losses. Yeah, I'm in the Biddle train. This guy has all the things we were looking for, and he can play backup right now. Moon will be a project. Put Moon in a two-way and keep him in the system till he blossoms more. You talking about what, Moon? You mean Sharp. Sharp. Yeah, Xavier Moon of CBL, Jamario Moon. I'm not sure who you're talking about there. I think you mean Sharp. I like Biddle too. I think he's worthwhile. And he's smart too. So I think that, and there's a whole defensive aspect to him that'll be helpful too. So I'm big on Biddle. I'm on the Biddle train too. Totally on that train. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying Sharp's ability to block shots is impressive. We don't need a 7-footer shooting threes, especially if he's slow-footed. It doesn't hurt. And I don't think he's that slow-footed, man. I don't know. We'll just have to see. They're paying attention to this. I think Biddle's fine. I mean, seriously, we'll just have to see. Trust Bobby, trust Darko, trust the personnel decisions. We'll see what stages he gets to. We'll see how far they get. I mean, if you make me have to choose between Biddle and Sharp, I'm going to say Biddle's more useful than Sharp to a degree right now. I mean, even with Sharp's crazy block shots, he's just got such a weakness that is really hard to play him in the NBA. You know, he's fine. If we want to put a two-way on him and put him between 905 and the Raptors as an auxiliary backup center, an intriguing look of a 7'5" guy, that's great. And I'm all for that. I'd like to have both of them, honestly. because we need two more centers. We can't just have Jakob be the only center on our team. We get both of them. We got three centers then. And we kind of hit that quota. And they're both on rookie scale. And they're getting paid dirt. And that's the other part that's different than Nick Richards. It's likely Nick Richards is going to need $2 to $3 million. These guys will get the rookie scale and even a two-way rookie scale. You know, Kaloy's saying this. Don't agree with that. There is a reason stretch bigs are highly sought after. You can play them at the top and give them space. Yeah. I think that Nate's very useful. I don't know. Shaq Lindsay thinks he's slow. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they decide. They know better than us as far as that kind of stuff. But to me, the eye test, Nate Biddle passes. He passes my eye test, but maybe he's right. Maybe Shaq Lindsay's right. Maybe there's some sort of speed to the NBA that Nate Biddle can't keep up with. I don't know. I like him way better than Brandon Carlson, and people were liking Brandon Carlson so much 2 years ago. I like Nate Biddle way more than Brandon Carlson. I think that he's more promising than Carlson, if that says anything. Yeah. Good news all around. Let's go. Let's get healthy, Tempo. That's right. Let's get healthy. Shaq Lindsay saying this. What happens when they miss and the opposing team runs out on a fast break? Biddle's running too. That's the thing. You got to give Yak more credit. He's a very mobile big. He gets up and down the court very good for a man his size. And Biddle does too. He's not slow. See, this is a difference. There's difference. There's some big guys that walk up and down the court because they're lazy. That's the thing. Biddle's like Yak. He's going to run. He's going to run every time. He may not be the fastest guy on the court like Yuki Kawamura, but he is fast because he's putting effort in. He's running. That's the whole thing. As long as these guys are giving effort, it doesn't matter exactly how fast they are. If he's running down the court, he's at the fastest he can. That's better than a better center that's slowly walking up the court because he's tired, he's lazy, and he doesn't feel like getting back. And there are a lot of centers like that. There's centers in New York. Karl Anthony Towns is like that. He'll just walk up and down the court. He doesn't even try and get back. Nate Biddle's running. He's sprinting down the court. That's what I'll say right there. Kaloy's saying, while Moon is mobile and can run, Sharp is mobile and can run. He's also so thin and limited offensively and can only play in the dunker spot in offense. That's true. In fact, there was a part in the game yesterday where Sharp got the ball in the corner, open three, but he can't shoot threes. So it's like he's wide open. He's right in the corner. He got the ball. If it was Biddle, he would have shot it and made it, but Sharp couldn't. So he had to pass it to the next guy up around the three-point line because he's not even going to shoot it, and they don't even care. That's a big, huge detriment. When you have a dead end in the offense that nobody has to respect, that means they can cheat off of him to cover up other people on the court more. And it makes it even harder for our scorers because nobody respects Sharp on the outside. Nobody respects him for shooting anything other than at the rim. And that's really bad. I mean, this dude doesn't even have a game 5 feet out, let alone 20 feet out. He doesn't have a game. He has no offense, and he can't even hit free throws hardly either. So there's a lot of problems there. Shaq Lindsay saying centers who shoot but are slow-footed hurt your defense. Example, Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, but there's different styles of play in different ways. And sometimes, look, you know what Nate Biddle's good for? Half court offense. And, you know, half court offense is more playoff kind of style. You know, everybody got mad in the Cleveland series. We were talking about this. It's like the Raptors need to run more and get more fast break. I said, no, this is not how it works in the playoffs. Eastern Conference playoffs is grinded out half court grind. And, you know, getting fast break opportunities and getting this run out, that's not the style. The playoffs slow down and it becomes a half court game. And in some ways, having Biddle around in the half court offense is very useful. I mean, you're talking about transition and running up and down the court. Maybe he does get tired. Maybe he can't run that way, Shaq Lindsay. But in a half court, when things slow down in the playoffs, because they always do, everybody kept saying in the first round, we need to run more. Well, it's not how playoffs work. The refs, first of all, will not let you run. And second of all, the other team's not trying to turn the ball over so that you can get easy steals and run. Because they're trying to play their very best basketball and protect the ball as much as possible. So it becomes a half-court defensive slog fest, like Game 4 that I went to at Scotiabank Arena this year against Cleveland, where it was a very low-scoring game. It was an ugly-ass game. but the Raptors gutted it out and won that game. You know, so in some ways, Biddle's useful for that aspect, that right there, because he's a floor spacer. He can hit the three, and they have to respect him. And he can also, on the other end, be a regular size center that can hold the place in the paint. And he's not shying away from contact. That's the other thing. Some of these big centers, like Carlson, they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be physical with anybody. Biddle's right in there mixing it up. He's not afraid to get physical with people. So Kaloy's saying this: Biddle is so far from Porzingis. He isn't perfect, needs to bulk more, but more serviceable than Moon right now. Sharp. You keep saying Moon, but it's Sharp. That goes hand in hand with prop betting. They set up these impossible parlays with props, and people are blaming the players. It's built to be this way. Yeah, it's just a really toxic system and toxic phenomena. It's a toxic thing. I just see it being so toxic. There's more wrong that can go than right. You know, there's more wrong that can go than right. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying most of Nate's 3-pointers are at the top of the key. This doesn't help your defense. He can shoot it from any of the spots. Give him more of a chance, Shaq Lindsay. I know maybe you're not a Biddle fan, but, you know, let things run their course. And if he makes the team and he's very helpful to the Raptors this season, we'll be happy, right? So we'll just take it at each step, just like with Seth Lundy, just like with Jamarian Sharp. We've got to take it at each step and see if they get invited back to the next thing, which is preseason and training camp. And Biddle's already invited. Burnett is invited also. Those two guys are going for sure. Lundy has not got the invite yet, and neither has Sharp yet. Yeah, but Sharp has options. There's other teams that really want him to put on their team. Now, that's why I think that we might have to put the two-way on Sharp, is because we don't have his G League rights, I'm pretty sure. We can have Biddle's rights, I think, and just add them to our mix with the Exhibit 10. But Sharp is a free agent, and he could go to any of the G League teams this year. He played on Sacramento Kings Summer League already before us, and he has options. It did sound like in his interview, though, that he favors playing for the Raptors. He said very much, I'd love to play for the Raptors this year. This is a team that is like me, is very defensive, and they want me to play to my strengths, and that's what I want. And so he sounds like he's in for it. If he has a choice, he will pick us, it sounds like. But we may have to give him a two-way to make him for sure with us, because he is sought after. Any of the G League teams will take him. He's the defensive player of the year for the G League, right? That's it right there. Major Sports is saying Golden State gets away with murder and they don't call anything. They are literally, you're 100% correct. Golden State is getting a favorable whistle. I totally saw it, and I don't respect that. I mean, I don't really see them as having a very big star on their team. They're all kind of mediocre players that are all kind of playing okay. They've got a good collection of people all together, but I don't really see them. Like, I don't understand them. I don't understand how, you know what I really believe it is, and this has happened with the Warriors over the years in the NBA. The Warriors get all kinds of secret favor from the NBA and Adam Silver. The dynasty that they had with Steph Curry and Draymond and Klay Thompson was propped up and held together. How uncommon is it for a core like that to stay together for a decade and get so much time together and keep the money together and everything? There's so many different things that the Warriors have had favor. I think it's just that market and that owner that is like getting all kinds of benefits and favors from the leagues. And I think the Valkyries are getting the same kind of energy as the Warriors do. And some reason, it may be because the ownership group. I also question, why the hell is the Valkyries the most valued franchise in the WNBA? That doesn't make any sense to me. They just showed up last year. Why are they the most valuable franchise? Why isn't it the Liberty, who's been in the league forever? Why isn't it the Aces, who have run off team championships like crazy in the last few years? Why isn't it Caitlin Clark and the Fever? I mean, I don't get this. Like, the valuation of the Valkyries being the most expensive franchise in the league doesn't totally make sense to me. Something's not adding up here. Some of this seems convoluted and maybe even staged or set up. You know, maybe this guy's just super rich that owns the Valkyries and the Warriors. And Adam Silver's like, thank you. You're infusing so much money into the league that, you know what, you're the most valuable franchise, and we're going to give you all the calls in the world. and we're going to give you favor. And we love the story of the Valkyries being a playoff team in their first year as an expansion and being the first of this and the first of that. Something seems like shady about this. Shady about this. Like that owner may be shuffling a little extra money towards the leagues just to be top notch with his team and getting the ref calls. That's what I would look into it a little further. I mean, that's speculation, that's conspiracy theory stuff. But I mean, I know how the Warriors have been treated in the NBA for so long, and it seems like the Valkyries get the same treatment. And in some ways, the fact that both of them get that, something's fishy about that, is what I would say. Shaq Lindsay saying, I think we get impressed with Nate's ability to shoot threes, but we have to ask ourselves, does he fit our system? Yeah. In fact, watching these 3 games in Summer League, he's a Raptor. The way he gets after it, he works hard. And once again, I'm going to say this, a 7-foot guy that gets on the floor to get after loose balls is not common. This is a rare person, and he's working hard out there. And I'm telling you, man, he's that kind of energy, like our team. He is a hard worker. He blocks shots really well, and he will steal the ball too. He's an opportunist. So yes, he does have Raptors energy because he's getting on the floor as a 7-foot guy. And most 7-foot guys don't want to get on the floor. They don't. They don't want to get on the floor. Trust me. Major Sports saying, I think Caitlin Clark is in the 3-point contest. It should be interesting. Yeah, she should be there. I want to see Sabrina. I want to see Marina. I think that if you have those 3 in particular and Ryan Howard, you put them in there, the top 3-point shooters, the marquee ones, man, that's high drama. And go Marina. Of course, I'm going to say go Marina. Let's go Tempo. Let's go Chef Mabry. And let's show them what you're doing up here in Canada for our expansion team and the All-Star weekend. I think it'd be a travesty if we don't get Caitlin, Sabrina, and Marina at least. Those 3, in some ways, that is high drama. That is big-time stuff. That's like WrestleMania main event stuff. I still am a big proponent for this Major Sports Network. I want to see the WNBA players do the 3-point shootout against the NBA players at NBA All-Star Weekend. I think that there's no problem with having a field of the 4 best WNBA 3-point shooters and the 4 best NBA shooters, and they are competing against each other on equal playing field. None of this conditions like the WNBA ball versus the NBA ball, the rim, the line, whatever. No, they all play on the same thing, which is the NBA regulations. And the only reason why Adam Silver wouldn't do this is what if one of the women win? And what does that say about the whole hierarchy of sports and gender in the NBA and the WNBA? I want to see this. If you had guts, Adam Silver, you would do this plan. First of all, it would shake up your All-Star weekend and make it way more interesting once again. I think that little tease that you did with Steph and Sabrina a couple years ago was interesting, and it was the right direction, but you didn't let it go all the way through. And I'm telling you, if you do a combined 3-point shootout at All-Star weekend in the NBA, and you put the ladies in there with those guys, and they beat them at some point, this will do a huge thing for the WNBA and women's sports in general, and just breaking gender roles and gender norms and gender bullshit. Seriously. But I don't know if Adam Silver has the balls to do it. Honestly, it'd probably be one of the smartest things he could do because it will bring interest and it might revitalize the All-Star weekend. But I don't know if he'll have the guts to do it. And they should do it over and over again. They shouldn't just try it once. They should put it in, implement it, because it may be that nobody from the WNBA wins initially, but at some point they will. And that will be a huge story. That will be a huge story. Could you imagine Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, Fred VanVleet, and I don't know, Con Knipple against Marina, Sabrina, Ryan, and Caitlin? Like, that would be a crazy 3-point shootout. Really, really good. Really, really fun stuff. But I don't know if Adam Silver will ever have the balls to do it. And he should. He should do it, honestly. It'd be amazing. Shaq Lindsay saying this, bring back Ulrich Shamshay. He would be perfect for what we are building here. Ulrich is playing for his home country right now. Put up stats. Yeah, Shamshay is somebody I'd like to reclaim. If this happens, I'll be overjoyed. Absolutely. This is a great idea, Shaq Lindsay. I would love to have Shamshay get cleared by the fitness to play panel and allowed to play in the NBA again. This convoluted, weird-ass doctor panel that seems to hate Cameroonian centers. So yeah, Shamshay has looked fine to play for his home country. What's up, NBA Fitness to Play panel? Have you cleared him yet? Can we reacquire him? Can we bring him back into the fold on the Raptors? Because we'd like to reclaim our draft pick. We don't want to keep losing centers that we draft because y'all keep taking them because doctors say they can't play mysteriously. Yeah, I want Shamshay back too. I love that idea. I love that more than Nick Richards. I'll say that. Fiercely saying this, Page has such a positive influence and greater reach, in my opinion. Even when playing against the Suns, lots of fans from our UConn era come support the Wings instead of the actual Connecticut team. And I'll bet a lot of people jump the border from New England to come to Montreal to go to that game on Friday night. There's probably quite a few people that came up from the States, Americans, that made that trip to come to see Dallas play against Toronto in Bell Center on Friday night with you. You were in that arena too. You were part of the record. Fiercey Salsera. That's right. When I asked Fiercey Jr. which game she wanted to attend, it was no brainer. Paige and Azzy was it. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Ulrich is center that moves like Giannis. He's not totally a true center, but he can play center. That's the great thing. He's versatile. In some ways, he's kind of a power forward first, but because of his long arms and his shot blocking ability, he can play center. And he's very strong too. This whole year, he sat out. He's been working out very hard in Mississauga. The man has been constantly lifting weights and wearing Raptors gear while he's doing it. So the signs are that he's not in any kind of bad place with our franchise. And hopefully they'll just clear him and we'll get dibs on him and he will be back. Because honestly, he's somebody I'd like to reclaim for sure. You know, Koloko is only out for 1 year with his fitness to play panel thing. Hopefully it'll be the same pattern. And maybe we'll hear something in the next 3 months before the season starts that Shamshay is cleared and all of a sudden he's back with the Raptors and on the Raptors with the Raptors and the 905. I don't even know if he needs the 905 at this point. It could very well be he's been working on his own and doing certain things. It's probably smart to put him on 905 still and let him run around down there too. Yeah. Fiercely saying congrats on being sober for a long time. Yeah, I'm not necessarily sober, but I don't drink. I definitely smoke some ganja. But yeah, don't drink anymore. That's for sure. Kaloy saying, hey, yeah. I have Jamario Moon in your head. You're thinking about Jamario Moon, Jamarian Sharp. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. You're over the moon, man. I'm in my 8th year of sobriety too. Time flies. There you go, Kaloy. Proud of you, man. Proud of you, man. You know, we're not in the room. We're not doing an AA meeting here, but I'm proud of you. I really am. And keep going, man. Life gets better and better. And you know, you got your boys, you got your family, you got so many good things going on in your life, man. Let's keep going. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying he plays and looks like him, but he doesn't gamble like him. Who? Jonte Porter? I don't know what you're talking about there. Chloe saying Biddle has a bigger frame than both Carlson and Sharp. This guy can probably bulk up more if we get him in the Mandarin. Yeah, I could see this too because, you know, he's 210 and, you know, centers can be up to 230. So he could put on another 20 pounds of muscle and be even stronger. I feel like he does a good job of holding his own already physically because he's a leaner. Like I watched his college highlights when I scouted him before, and I've seen him do it in summer league too, where when he's dealing with people on box outs and anything with positioning for rebounds, he's leaning very strongly into them and using all of his weight. And he's very good at physicality and getting the balls. There was also a rebound he got yesterday where he basically put his arm up really high. The ball was a long rebound and it was from a three, and it was heading back out the 3-point line, and he was standing near the free throw line, and he just reached up and grabbed it before it went long over his head to one of the Pacers, because they would have gotten the rebound if he had not snatched it out of the air. So there's a lot of promise in Nate Biddle. And in some ways, Shaq Lindsay can see things with his eye test. I can see things with my eye test. Kaloy can see things with his eye test. And the Raptors will see what they see with their eye test. So we'll have to see what they decide. Get him in the Mandarin. Yeah, he doesn't have to go the Chet way. Just get him in the weight room like Jacoby and Swalter and Jamal Shed with his shed arms, like his giant arms right now. He'll get the weight training with the Raptors, and he'll get bulked up. We've seen all of them get bulked up. Battle, Walter, Grady, they all got bulked up. And Biddle, he has promise if he gets even more bulked up. Seriously, I can see it. Fiercely saying that Chelsea Gray posted a story yesterday of heinous DM. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. She received from someone name calling her. It's disgusting. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I saw that too. Yeah, this is common and it's happening to NBA and WNBA players. It's happening to all of them. And it's really stupid and unnecessary. It really is. I don't blame professional basketball players from turning off their social media ability to receive DMs. I mean, they should be doing that. It's just best for their mental health. It really, really is. Kaloy saying this, I'm so glad we have these selection of both Sharp and Biddle. We could have drafted a better center rather than Bradley, but just time and time again, Bobby knows best. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Bradley. In some ways, we got these guys undrafted. Well, Sharp has been in the league, well, not in the NBA, but he was in the G League last year. We'll see. I like both of them, and the Raptors do too. They've said this. They like them both. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Kaloy's saying, do we think that the Clippers investigation will wrap up today with the Board of Governors meeting? Yes, I'm hoping. Sooner the better. I mean, Kawhi's there, Larry's there, Adam Silver's there, Steve Ballmer's probably there. Yeah, get it all worked out. Get in that room today. They're probably talking about it right now. The Board of Governors meeting, annual meeting at Las Vegas Summer League is happening right now. And hopefully they're going over the punishment for the Clippers. They're going to make it very sound to make people discouraged to ever do what they did ever again, the salary cap circumvention with aspiration scandal. No, they need to nail Steve Ballmer and the Clippers and really punish them so that it really does not make any other team want to ever try and do something like that and know that the punishment will be harsh. Remember, they did that. This happened to Minnesota Timberwolves with Joe Smith long time ago. And what they did was they voided Joe Smith's contract. They fined the hell out of him and they took his money back. And they also fined the hell out of the team and took a bunch of their picks too. So it really punished the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this was right around post Kevin Garnett going to the Celtics. Garnett left the Timberwolves and then boom, this stuff happened. And yeah. So they need to make an example of the Clippers when they do this. If they don't, then it's a lawless league where people are going to be doing under the table shit because they can see that they can get away with it. That's basically an example for the whole U.S. government and everything that's happening right now. There's so much crime and criminality in the middle of the government that they're trying to see what they can get away with. And if there's no punishment, like they should have punished them worse for January 6th, well, things get worse and worse because nobody's coming and being the grown-up and punishing the criminals. And they just get emboldened to think they live in a criminal world where they can do whatever they want and get away with it. Well, we can't let Steve Ballmer have that in the NBA. And in some ways, Adam Silver can be a beacon for justice in the whole entire world and show that, you know what, just because you're a billionaire and you think you can get away with this doesn't mean you will. And that's what we need the message to be very clearly from Adam Silver in the league office, from hopefully a decision coming today. Yeah, I speculate it'll come out today. Yeah. Major Sports saying that would be amazing. Men versus women would be epic. I think it would be just really cool. And I think that it would show a change of, ideas about gender roles in society. And I think it would also be very emblematic of the rise of women's sports and how we're getting on more of an equal playing field with the entertainment and the business of women's sports. But I don't think Adam Silver has the guts. In some ways, it's a patriarchy. It's male chauvinists and people like that will be like, no, they can't do that. There's probably a lot of people involved in the NBA that look down on the WNBA, even though the WNBA is a part of the NBA in a way, but they probably are gatekeeping. And there could be a certain level of gatekeeping with the NBA from the WNBA that wouldn't allow this. I don't know. They may have to talk to Fred VanVleet and the Players Association, president of the Players Association, Fred VanVleet, and the rest of them. They would probably have to agree to it and be like, you know what, we might be losing to girls. Yeah, so what? You got two daughters, Fred, Layla and Sunny. So why don't you, have a future for your two girls, not just Fred Jr.? Come on now. Yeah, open the door and be okay with it. That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Major Sports is saying, Raptors Freak, you have an amazing show. I have to go. I will see you at the next one. Thank you. Yeah, come back tomorrow and we'll be reacting to Washington game tonight. And I'll put my 2 cents in on how we did against Citron and Austin and Irfan. Yeah, yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, Shaq Lindsey's saying, "Okay, you sold me on Nate for now." Yeah, it's really the hustle. Like he's getting after it, like Alan Graves. He's taking Alan Graves' leadership of getting after it, and Nate Biddle's getting after it too. So they're looking similar in that. All right, we're at 2.5 hours. I'm going to start getting through my tabs as quickly as possible, and we'll wrap things up. Toronto Raptors Redditor of the day is Kaz on Reddit. Also, he gets both of them today, and he's got a clip of Coach Dwayne Casey talking about DeMar DeRozan in a reunion with the Raptors being possible. He's saying that would fill my heart. I think it would be a great story for Toronto and for DeMar to be able to go back. Now, I don't know how realistic this is, but I love what Casey said in this interview. He really elaborated and explained how much he looks at DeMar DeRozan as a son. Like it's a father-son relationship between Case and Debo. And he cares so much about him. And I love this too, because like Casey still works for the Pistons. He's involved with the Pistons, but he has no problem talking about his history with the Raptors and the things they get accomplished in the 2010s, building the We the North culture with Masai Ujiri and Kyle Lowry, and going over his very, very, very deep affinity for DeMar DeRozan. So it's interesting that Case thinks it's a great idea and he'd love to see it. But once again, how realistic is it with the cap situation for the Raptors and the place on the team that we have open and what DeMar would be able to do and what he would do? Yeah, in some ways, he's not the kind of player that needs to sit on the bench and just watch. He needs to be playing. So I still am on the record for saying DeMar DeRozan should not come back to Toronto, even if it's a feel-good story and it would make Dwayne Casey's heart go full. But yeah, thank you to Kaz on Reddit for being the Tempo Redditor of the day and the Raptors Redditor of the day with fantastic posts. Kaz on Reddit, you're the MVP, my guy. There you go. Let's see if there's any breaking news on the wire about anything going on right now with things. Alexa Philippou of WNBA News is reporting that the All-Star draft will air tomorrow. Teresa Witherspoon and Cynthia Cooper are the coaches, and they will be drafting their respective teams ahead of the All-Star game next week in Chicago. So yeah, if you want to watch the All-Star draft, it's tomorrow at 3:30 on ESPN. And we'll see what those legends pick as far as who they want to get on the team. Who's going to take Marina is what I'm wondering about. Who's going to take Marina? All right, let's see what else. That's it on the breaking news. Y'all, real quick, I want to do a promo. I saw this guy at the Canada-Jamaica game last week, and he said, "What up?" And it's the great voice of the Raptors on the radio, Eric Smith. And I want to promo his book once again. We the Raptors is a fantastic book by Eric Smith and Andrew Breaker. It's got 30 different Raptors that it goes over, including Tyler Hansbrough, who was talked about in the game last night against the Pacers. But yeah, pick this book up for Eric Smith, We the Raptors. It's a fantastic book. All Raptors fans should have. And it, like I said, there are different chapters on different players talking about their experiences of playing for the Raptors. And they run the gamut from the very beginning of the franchise all the way up until current Raptors. They have a Garrett Temple chapter in here. So yeah, check it out. Even an RJ chapter in this. So We the Raptors, Eric Smith, get the book. If you're a Raptors freak and a Raptors fan, this is the straight goods on Canadian goods today. Eric Smith's book. And I appreciate Eric shouting out to me on Instagram and the messages. It was cool to see him and say, hey. And, we have little chats here and there. But yeah, Eric Smith is a fantastic broadcaster and a friend to the Raptors freak. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So Kaloy saying this. Interesting. So Lundy was injured 2 full seasons before the summer league. This guy's growing on me. Right now he seems like a gunner, but that defense yesterday was great to see. Keep going. Keep going. This is what you do to make the team, Seth Lundy. You keep going. Keep going. You're doing great. You have not messed up yet. You're going great. That's right. See, we're going to do the classic card. I guess that's next, and we'll be done. Get done right at 2.5 hours. All right, y'all, let's get this classic card pretty quick so that I can be done before 2.5 hours. Let's see. How much time do we have? We have less than 2 minutes. Oh, shit. All right, let's see. Where are we? Where are we here? All right, this one's good. Yeah, we've had this card before, I think, but we'll do it again real quick. All right, full name answer on the classic card. Well, I got to figure out what the light. The light is always a problem. Look at that dunk or what that play is right there. Oh, man, how do I do this with the light? There. Can y'all see him? He's a Knicks player. He's bringing the ball up. Full name answer, please, on the classic card if you want to get it. Just put in the full name and you'll get the card. We're on the clock. We've got 50 seconds till somebody got to get this classic card. Skybox original. We've had this player as a classic card recently, not this exact card. I could show you the back of it. That may be easier. Who is that player? Classic card of the day. Gerald Wilkins. Stargate got it. Good job, Stargate. Stargate's 2 days in a row, just ahead of Reggie. Was it when I flipped it? Y'all could tell? Yeah, it's Dominique's little brother again. Gerald Wilkins. Stargate, 2 days in a row. This one's 100 points, though, because he's a little bit more difficult. Good job, Stargate. The man who beat the machine. Stargate getting the classic card. Awesome stuff. All right, I guess we'll finish up. Yeah, we're right on time. Good job. You got it on time. All right, today, real quick, no injuries for the Washington Mystics. Sykes and Rice are out. Fagbenle is questionable and could be returning from concussion protocols. The referees tonight are Isaac Barnett, Catherine Chang, and Teresa Stuck. Our record with them is 3-3 overall. The ESPN matchup predictor is giving us a 60% chance to win against the Mystics tonight. So hopefully that is what happens. The Raptors beat the Pacers in a very good game yesterday in Summer League. Seth Lundy is my star of the game, followed by Tyree Key, Alan Graves, Nate Biddle, and Jaden Bradley are my 5 stars. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream, Tempo Freak stream, covering both teams today. And I'll be back tomorrow to react to the Washington Mystics Toronto Tempo game tonight at Coca-Cola Coliseum. So, yeah, have a great Tuesday. Stay cool. It's very hot outside. So make sure you hydrate yourself so you don't fall out from the heat. That's right. W Stream, fam. Set up your WNBA fantasy lineup. That's right. Thank you, Fiercey, for saying that. And thank you, UC, for the great stream. Let's go Tempo. Yeah.